early in this whole journey. Someone was saying on one of the spaces I was listening to, and I think it's something good to think about, which is some of the first people that flew on planes crashed. So there's going to be we're going to try to figure this out. I think the Bitcoin protocol is safe. Where I think the vulnerability is the input output how we interact with it as humans. That's the weak link. So whether you're doing cold storage or whether you're using custodial services of some sort, everybody has an attack vector at that layer. Can I hack the person's ability to access the Bitcoin chain? The blockchain is secure. That's not the issue.
But Thomas, I think what the issue is how low effort the attack was, and how these random number generator or random word generators have such low entropy that anyone that has any access to compute can just, key in, say, hey, give me X amount of different combinations. They could fill, a few gigs worth of Excel files or notes, and then, run some scripts through and try to brute force their way. Like it's not complicated because it's so low entropy. I think even a password that you do yourself that's not a full word, right, is higher entropy than words that are known. That has a certain level, right, that's much lower, that is widely known, that could easily have different combinations in it. And I think that is the real issue here, is that we have the common source of security is very low entropy, mixtures of numbers or words, whole numbers or words, not small specific incremental differences that can make the entropy higher.
Yeah, I think that's all true. I think, look, if someone was doing really ultimate high hygiene, they probably were insulated from this. But just the random use of that device, which was a popular device, led to these people, get hacked, and it's a shame. It's terrible.
So to dumb it down, they were pretty much using like a small pot of words to make seed phrases, which is like 40. I think they said it was like 40-bit versus the 256-bit that it could use if he wasn't using the generator. So it wasn't random enough, and that's why they said the dice was more random than what they were using, to dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not even that complicated. It's really just the structure of the security itself is just really low entropy.
This time, that's probably true this time, but just again, I just think this is a wake-up call to, in my opinion, is a wake-up call to everybody. These AI tools are making it a lot easier to go after this kind of stuff, and I expect to see more. When I talk to people behind the scenes in the cybersecurity world, some of them they're a little freaked out, especially in financial services and banking, right? They think about how often, like a JP Morgan Chase the cyber team, how many attacks they're dealing with every single day. And
now, Thomas, if somebody had their coins in the Coldcard a year ago and hasn't touched them, were they affected, or just somebody who went to log in today? What's that?
They're not on the Coldcard. They're on the blockchain. The Coldcard has the password generation. So you're just using the Coldcard to generate the password and store it. The actual Bitcoin sits on the blockchain, and that's what got hacked.
Your seed phrase is your Bitcoin. So if they pretty much, to dumb it down, they guessed your seed phrase, which gives them access to transfer the Bitcoin to wherever they want.
Even if you haven't done anything with it for a fucking year, they were able to go in and grab your shit there like that.
They used a small pile of numbers. A small pile.
Only if you used the cold wallets
generator
methods.
Seed generator.
If you use their seed generator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is 99% of people.
What the fuck, man?
And they even mentioned that even the newer ones wasn't to its full potential as well. They were better, but they still didn't use the whole 256 a bit, they should be able
That's
to.
what's suspicious. That's the most suspicious thing to me. They knew they had a shitty one, so they're like, let's fix it, and we fix it with a just less crappy one. That is the most that is the most bizarre thing of this story. I'll be
So sounds
honest.
like an inside job. Somebody inside of there
It,
did this.
that's what it sounds like to me too. The fact that they just pushed the entropy a little higher, like what you see that it's not calling the correct library. Why would it just be? I don't know. It's very weird.
Do you think it could just be lazy and stupid though, as well? To your point, like, do you think they have the
This isn't the type of thing that's
software
lazy.
engineers?
No, lazy or stupid is just never changing it. This is like
Bro, they got one job. One fucking job to
it's
do
not lazy
this
or
right.
stupid. Lazy or stupid would mean it just was the same thing for 4 years. Yes, they actually updated something and then like they updated it for something less shitty. It's I don't know. That to me, like I don't even know how to make things sense. It's an inside job. Let's all be honest. Come on.
What's happening with these guys? What this guy Easy? I don't want to get into people's names and personalities and stuff. All of a sudden, you watch these spaces. It sounds like a fucking cult or something. This TBB. Have you seen that?
Oh, it's
It's
some
just
new.
all meme coin shit.
They're like talking their own different fucking like language and shit. It's like fucking like they're a member of a fucking cult or something. What are they all getting paid to fucking promote that thing? Is that how that works or what?
It all depends. Who knows how they're involved? But people been doing this for the longest, since like 2021, 2022.
Aces, it's like the MLM, all right, for tech people.
Right. It
basically.
sounds like they're getting paid. They're getting a bunch of free shares or something to go out, and the way
Well,
they're talking
they could
about
be
it sounds
involved,
like a
or they could
fucking
be just
cult.
investing in it, hoping it goes up. That's all.
I know, but that's the thing about investing. You click a button and you go play golf. What the fuck?
I mean, it's just, you have the same world.
No.
with,
Let me click
securities.
a button. Let me go click a button and then, basically go fucking, take on the fucking role of the CEO of the company for free.
I mean, even in the
Fuck
stock market, you have pump and dump, so it's the same shit.
Let me go press a button, and then I'll mine some gold in the jungle, right?
Exactly.
Aces, they couldn't get your gold out of a safe, but they might be able to get your Bitcoin now.
What about that guy that listed like a whole fucking motherfucker of a bunch of pages of exchanges or something that have gone out of business this year? Did you see that? Here, watch. Putting it in the nest. I can't believe it. I mean, look at this. There's like 100 of them. You see that? I put it in the nest. Projects that shut down or disappeared. BitMEX, Bitmart, Dango. Just fucking dropping like flies, some of this shit, huh?
I'm surprised they didn't mention none of this on CNBC.
Yeah. Is that why you think Bitcoin went down? Because guys are scared? They're selling it because of this shit here, this Coldcard thing?
I think it was a big blow. I think it made a lot of people nervous. I think it's going to be hard moving forward to convince people to even do cold storage. I think a lot more people is going to use exchanges, at least for the meantime, at least till it blows over a little bit. But I mean, on the brighter side, I also believe it's going to make people be more safe when they're using cold storage.
I mean, it links
Use
back.
multi-sig more often, instead of single, and then they'll, roll the dice, whatever. So it's like, in the long run, it's probably definitely going to be better for people that have cold storage.
I wonder
just feel
It links back to the Clarity Act a little bit. I mean, you can decide to connect the dots or not, but the Clarity Act allows for banks to custody your Bitcoin on your behalf and segregate the asset so that at least you have some recourse.
Mhm.
Again, a lot of people, they're going to say, hey, you can't, as soon as you do that, you don't have Bitcoin anymore. You have a IOU. That's all true. It's going to appeal to a lot of people who aren't comfortable with doing it, the self-custody protocol. So
yeah.
but there is some politics potentially behind it, whether you can the dots need to be connected or not. They are there to be connected.
Yeah, I wonder what Pat thinks about this. He's a pretty technical guy down there. I don't know if we could bring him up. He's really technical.
Asteroid, I gotta move Starlinks, so I'm gonna go and I'll be back in a minute. I'll put my hand
You
back
do?
up. Okay.
How's it? Are you at your new site?
Oh, yeah, I am. I just got to move from
Oh
one
man.
Starlink to the next, so I'm gonna lose.
All right.
So I'll be back in about 5 minutes when I get to my sleeping area where I got my next Starlink. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right, good.
Uh,
That's right.
man.
Get get Pat up here.
I just want to give one in my opinion about the cold storage. So I think based on the story of the cold cast, I think the better way is we cannot rely on one manufacturer only. So we
Yeah,
can,
agree.
yeah, yeah, you can see the story, right? I think
Yo,
there
are
are
we sure? Are
so,
we sure this guy didn't do it?
hmm?
Why? Oh, he's a nice guy. This guy's a
Oh,
nice
he
guy.
is. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
Richard.
yeah, in my case, I have Jade, Jade. You know, right? You guys know? You guys know about it?
Kind of.
Yeah, Jade is a one option for you guys, and the Trezor you can should be know very well. Trezor.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I use. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, Jade Trezor, and the one is I think I cannot remember the name. I forgot about it. Just only two. This two. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have any uh, experience to share, welcome. Yeah, for the cold storage. But for my case, I have T of manufacturer to validate it. So to make sure that it's fully open source, no hidden layer, no stupid stuff in there. Yeah.
I don't know, Astro.
I
I
agree.
think he might have done it. So when the bad guy comes around the good guys to make it seem like
I
he
was
didn't
like,
do it.
is it like one of those? You ever see this? Where
Yeah.
there's serial killers. They kill like their wife, and then they
Yeah.
kill the lady, and they go to the funeral. Isn't that shit crazy? So like he was at the funeral. I saw him. Oh my god. I will have to say this has been in my like 10 years or 9 years or something. This has probably been the most. How should I say it? Rattling thing. Like I haven't given a fuck about anything until this. It feels weird. It feels rattling, right? And it's just like I can't even imagine. I can't imagine like it happening. It's just I don't know. I don't know what the people are gonna do. And it's really it's just tough, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Um, but
Yeah, and I bet you there's still some people who have no fucking idea that it happened. Well, like I wouldn't have
well,
known unless I just like jumped on randomly and just heard people talking, and then I realized,
I
fuck, I
guess
got one of these things.
and in a way, it kind of sounds bizarre, but I feel like some of the people who like weren't gonna look at it for years, maybe it's kind of like better, so they don't have to suffer for years. You know what I mean? Because like, say it happened now, you're gonna be like unhappy for like the next 5 years. Or you can be, like then you're just really unhappy after 5 years. So like, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it's in a way kind of better. The problem is, what if they're like saving that money for something, and they're like, all right, well, we're gonna buy a house or something, and it's like, oh fuck, it's gone.
Well,
But I get,
what's even
I,
worse if you're that in between right now? I mean, I feel extremely bad for anybody who's lost it. But imagine you have like the Mark IV or the Q, and so like you're not penetrated yet, but like you're on the other side of the country, like nowhere
so
next to your wallet.
well, oh god,
Imagine that feeling.
Oh, I was thinking about that too. Like I was thinking like if I was say you were on a road trip, like you'd just be like, I got to turn around and just floor it home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say fuck it to everything, unless it was over like $5,000. I'd be getting back home. I'd figure out a way.
Yeah. I think the takeaway is we need a hard. Like I think I'm pretty hard, but I think I'm gonna go up a level of harder and even more diverse. By spreading it out a little more, and then just kind of going up even another
Yeah.
level. You know,
You'd rather do that than just grab the ETF or something.
I have ETF.
Oh, okay.
I want my whole thing is I like to have stuff in a lot of different places. So there's a low probability
You
of.
spend it a lot, right? Like you were talking about how you make transactions.
I did make transactions like a few a year, but not. No, I don't really spend it. It was for different things, but unfortunately now that's kind of you know exposes me. So like I need to create something where it's like only in. You know what I'm saying? But I have ETF and I have several wallets, but the multi-sig is like I feel like that's the gold standard. So you put more in there, but which would have saved a lot of these people, if they used two MK3s, right? Not saved it permanently, but they would have a lot, like probably another week or so to move it. So it's still better. But yeah, I think honestly, I think you got to create one that you need to have like one you spend from, and then like a bigger like deep cold savings account, so to speak, where you don't spend from it. To be honest, and then you also protect it against quantum in that case too, if it ever comes. But Darkside mentioned this is one thing Darkside said that like I don't think people really thought about. Quantum doesn't fucking mean anything. It's not an issue. What's an issue is this LLM hacking shit. Like that's a real issue that people don't really seem to think about, discuss as much. They talk about quantum, but it's like just fairy dust. Like it's maybe 10 years. Like I don't know. Why are you so worried about it? This is something that's happening today, as you can see now, right? You see it. There it is.
What you're seeing more and more people getting insurance too on their Bitcoin. That's probably going to increase a lot. Where you got Lloyd's of London, Gemini's got a custody program, BitGo, Coinbase even has a program, of course. But that would seem the natural path.
Are you okay, JW?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't never had a Coldcard. I was close to getting one just a couple months ago when they came out with their new I guess their latest iteration of it. But I've been in multi-sig, man. So
Yeah, me too.
for a while now.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like there seems to be a lot of people affected, but it doesn't seem to be the majority of the, I guess, regulars that come in spaces somehow. So that's, you would have think there would have been more.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of like an older iteration of it, right? Of the Coldcard. So it seemed like it was grouped into like one kind of time frame, right? Does that make sense? That were affected.
Yeah, but then the other ones also had weak random number generation too.
Yeah.
So it's like especially weird. Like why was there even different libraries?
There's got to be other ones because there's a lot of different Coldcards out there, and don't tell me they're not scrambling behind the scenes right now to fix this.
They send updates for the 4, the 5, and the Q.
Yeah, I'm talking about. I mean, there's so many Coldcards out there. I mean, wallets out there. You just don't know because a lot of these things are just kind of spun up in somebody's basement, and you don't know who's behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on. It's not like it's you're holding with a public company like somebody was saying earlier, a regulated company that has a reputation to protect.
What about Block?
Who's
What about Block?
what
I
about
trust
Block?
Block. I trust Block.
Not a fan of the BitKey.
I am. I'm gonna buy one. I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy one.
yeah.
Hey Joe, isn't
So
that kind of like
here's
hot
I still
wallet?
have my funds on a cold card, by the way, and I'm probably going to keep them there.
the question. Why, given the size and scope and scale of the industry, do we not have a major manufacturer
Yeah,
having an available hardware wallet?
You do. Block.
That's what I'm saying. Block's the only one, right? And that's relatively recent in the last, what, year and a half?
Yeah. I don't know.
Dude, isn't Trezor relatively big though? I mean, for the size
No,
of
it's a
the
Very good
tiny
question,
company.
guys. It's a very good question. Why don't we have more of this? Like that kind of tells you something, right?
Well, it tells you that the industry has incentives that want custody solutions to be provided for you, because a one-off hardware wallet that is sold and that they can't monetize in a repeated way is not a viable product line, right? Like, the planned obsolescence
it,
exists. You know what that is, right, Gary? I mean,
yeah,
there's a reason for that. Is a hardware wallet that's super secure that you don't have a
it,
subscription battle. There's no incentive for that product.
yeah. It's one and done. They sell it, they're done. That's it. Like,
Very tight margin. I
yep,
mean, it's just not. It's not. It's not. They want a solution where they could charge recurring fees,
yes,
transactions, etc. For a
absolutely.
sustainable business to exist, you got to have a steady revenue stream.
So
What
Joe
we
is all.
need, what we need in this space is what Dom Bay was trying to build. We need an ETF that allows for porting in and porting out
I thought that was
on.
top secret, Joe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the reality is there's no regulatory barrier for this to occur. The problem, and you can get Dom up here, invite Dom. He'll talk about it for an hour. The
Oh, is he
problem
here?
is getting people to fund it to get it done, and it's literally like it's like pulling teeth. So I'll invite Dom. I'll invite him up here. But this is the problem. Nobody wants to fund it. Could easily occur.
Joe, is all of your
Non-taxable event. I mean, hang on a second. I'll get him up here if you
Joe
want to.
is all of your stuff okay?
I lost a trivial amount of Bitcoin, but it's fine.
You had one of these wallets.
Yes, but fortunately, I had the vast majority of my stuff is completely secure, so I don't want to spread any FUD about that. Gary was asking me to talk about it, and I feel that's sort of self-indulgent. I don't really see the need to talk about like a million sats being lost. Like, it's not
Was that the stuff
important.
I sent you?
You did not send me a million sats. What are you
Yes, I
talking
did.
about?
Yes, I did.
When did you? Oh, you mean? Oh, no, 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 no. That's for the bet. No, no, that was
Oh,
no, 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 no. That's in deep, deep cold storage, like freezer level deep.
Joe, are you getting requests from your law firm to help people try and recover?
Yeah, we got a bunch today. I had two panic clients call me earlier, like about an hour ago. I mean, the amazing thing for me is like we're so plugged into the Bitcoin Twitter world. Like, there's scores of Bitcoiners out there who like don't follow this stuff on a daily basis. Like they literally like, oh crap, I just checked my hardware wallet, it's all gone. Like,
and they
it's
shouldn't
just like
have to either, right? That's the sad part.
well, you shouldn't, but like it's happening. Talk about a worst way to one of them texted me, and I'll just read you the text. It was really sad. It says, "Man, my buddy sitting next to me lost 1.8 Bitcoin, Joe, and Monday is his wedding. This is the miserable way to begin the weekend."
Oh my God, that's fucking bad.
Yeah,
Jesus.
That's awful.
Wow. It's almost like you took something you.
yeah. There's other I don't want to go into two of it, but arguments that don't involve CoinKite that we could probably that don't involve that company, other parties for recourse that we're exploring right now.
The
Um,
thing, Joe, is to me, I have to look at the code later, but we can sign it. To me, there's something a little bit suspicious. The fact that they updated this faulty piece of code and they didn't update it to
well,
the.
this is what I listen. If I were taking
That,
depth, this would be the primary focus. I would want to know right now. This is the key thing. I'm not a technical person, right? So
so
when I
yeah,
take a
here's
deposition, I want to
yeah.
make sure I
Go
understand
ahead.
it. Like, I want to
Go
get
ahead.
down to the
Go ahead.
the the most basic level, the way that we got to make it so Joe and Gary can understand it. And to that end, right? Like, when we break it down to where your regular person can understand it, what I want to know is like, how obvious of a flaw was this? Because to me, the lack of communication between the pseudo random number generator, and just for those that don't understand this isn't like a broken random number generator. That's not what actually occurred. when you actually ensure randomness, you have to have a random number generator and a pseudo random number generator. And what I understand from a technical perspective is that instead of actually relying on the oscillator with the random number generator, the code base in the wallet relied on the pseudo random number generator, which is not random. So
So
like
they
that's like the most important aspect of a hardware wallet. So I'm like, how the frick do you not understand this? And by the way, even if you made an error in the code base, how did this go for years without any other competitor, any other individual doing an audit? I mean, like if I were running CoinKite, I'd be like, this has to occur every year. Annually, we audit and review all of our systems. And by the way, LLMs, like, it's not like they just came onto the scene. Like, I don't understand how this wasn't done 6 months ago or with every new
maybe
upgrade.
Joe, maybe because they did know about it. Did you ever consider that?
Well, yeah, that's the backdoor theory. We'll
Well,
explore that.
here's why I think that it's possible. They upgraded this particular block of code with a fix that improved it from less shitty to just moderately shitty, and that's the MK4, right? To me, why would you ever be in there messing with it at all, only to upgrade it to the less shitty one? Do you not find that suspicious?
I find many things about this whole thing
Which is the wallets that are
suspicious.
going to get taken in a few weeks. Why would it have, if you changed it, why would you have not noticed to change it to the correct random number generation system? That to me is the weirdest
I don't know.
thing.
Your asteroid research, you should be on this thing. This is the story.
And I'm going to look, yeah, can we access the code? I'll actually go look at all of it. Is there a GitHub?
Yes.
I haven't really been home, but I'll go look at it. Here's the thing. I do think they'll probably find this guy, but do you think if they'll be able to recover the Bitcoin and give a lot of it back? Because I think these people will get caught, clearly.
Well, I mean, listen, if you could find the guy, that's all you really need, because people, when they're faced with sort of a choice, cooperate and, potentially have a reduced sentence, or not cooperate and go to jail for a very, very long time. I mean, to me, it's a really easy calculus. Like, this is the deal. This is why they were able to put, SBF behind bars, right? Because basically everyone on the team flipped on him.
Yeah. So I think he will be caught. Apparently, he used some sort of public node where his IP was.
That's what the block guys are saying. They're saying that they found him. So, I mean,
So another interesting thing that I thought about when you were talking, Joe, is you were like, "Oh, everyone's like, yeah, but you can lose it in ETF or you can lose it in this BitKey too." But you were like, "Yeah, but at least these companies have some money to pay out some claims."
well, this is yeah.
The
One of my
CoinKite doesn't have
clients.
they probably don't have a dollar to their name.
No,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
They're very,
Block
very
has
low.
money. Fidelity has money.
So
BlackRock has money.
one of my clients, who's a prominent Bitcoiner, he called me today and he talked about this exactly, because he moved a ton of his Bitcoin to the ETF, like when it launched, the IBIT. And what he says is like, look, like you have a built-in insurance policy with a counterparty, and he's very well off and he understands this. He's like, Joe, one of the reasons why I have you as my lawyer and I know your firm and I know the malpractice insurance you've got behind you is if you F something up, right? I've got a counterparty. It's nothing personal. It's just I've got a counterparty that I can haul into court and sue. And it's nothing, it's not like I dislike you as a person, but I have someone to blame. When you have a major financial institution that, if something goes wrong, they're backstopped fully. They're basically like an agent of the state. I have a party I can haul into court and blame for the loss. And people don't appreciate that. Like, even if, like, there's a reason, like, I have a lawyer. I have a lawyer for Joe, because, like, if something goes wrong, I want to be able to blame the lawyer for Joe.
Well, it's not just blame. Like we can blame CoinKite. You want someone to blame that can actually make you, I don't know, whole, but get you something in return if you lose, right?
Yeah, that's what a
Like,
counterparty is, right? Like,
like even if say if we held some custody with CoinKite and lose, you're not getting shit. So it's like you want a credible, reputable counterparty, which is I mean, Block's probably not as much as Fidelity, but they're what a $30 billion company. They have stuff. So like, I think I'm gonna get at the BitKey and move a little bit. I'm gonna break it up a little bit because I have most of it. Where it is. I just feel like I'm just gonna do that with BitKey, and I feel better because Block, they're a real publicly traded company with really good people that
Well,
actually
this is the
are really
thing.
good
Like,
engineers, right? They have top talent there.
yeah,
Using fucking
but
these
this
other
is
treasures, like who the hell's working? I don't know these people. I know
this
people that work at Block.
this is the thing. Like Coinbase, okay. Coinbase, if Coinbase ever really went down, like in a big way, if there's a massive hack that exposed like, you know, a significant amount of the Coinbase Bitcoin, not only would that be catastrophic for the price of Bitcoin, it'd be catastrophic for the whole industry. So like even if you didn't have your Bitcoin there, the USD value of the Bitcoin would effectively be like, you know, cut by 75%. The reason I say that is like what people have to honestly ask themselves is, depending on your security profile, depending on how much Bitcoin you hold, all these questions, like is it a greater probability for you to fall victim to a scam or attacker or make a user error that causes you a loss of Bitcoin? Or is it a higher probability for Coinbase to lose your Bitcoin? To me, I think the vast majority of people, it's probably a higher probability you screw something up or a victim of a phishing attack or something. Because I hear these stories all the time. And yes, there are hack stories with Coinbase, but I think in terms of the degree and, you know, nature of that, it's far less frequency of you just making a mistake or falling victim to an attack or social engineering.
But
I
yeah,
mean, my only argument to that, Joe, is like in the early days in like 2016, 2017, I was locked out of my Coinbase for 2 to 3 years and couldn't access business. So that's my only pushback. But I
But
agree
there's
with what you
always,
said earlier in the earlier
this
space.
is, yeah, but this is the problem. Like, if everybody can say, I can give an example of any security system, any vendor, any partner falling victim. I mean, some of the most security intensive banks in the world have issues with their, you know, their security profile. The question is that you're never going to find a perfect security setup. It's never a question. It's all about probability and it's about diversity, right? Like you want to be able to diversify your risk so that you can avoid a catastrophic loss. So my argument is always like, listen, if you have a single point of failure, that's the worst type of setup. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's cold storage. I don't care if it's, you know, ETF. I don't care if it's only, you know, relying on an exchange. Single points of failure are the ones where you raise the specter of catastrophic risk. Whereas if you diversify it, if you have
wipeout.
if you have a little bit of the ETF, you've got a little bit of, you know, maybe some exposure in cold storage, maybe some exposure in a crypto exchange that you trust. I mean, to me, that seems like the best way to mitigate against this.
I
Because,
agree. That's what I have. I like to have a
Yeah,
mix. I like having spread out. You know, spread out
I,
a lot of places.
I think you said it well earlier in the space today, Joe. I mean, you're not going to find any disagreement from me. I'm just playing devil's advocate in third Coinbase because it has happened to me. But I agreed totally. It spread your risk factor.
just seems logical, right? Like, I mean, like everything else, like if you spread it out,
It
just
seems logical to you and to me, but I feel like most people don't really. They don't grasp stuff for whatever reason. I've been trying to say this for years, but I don't know.
well, you get people like that they get dogmatic about it because they have a view of what Bitcoin is supposed to be, and their view, rigid and dogmatic, is going to yell at somebody that says, "Oh, I want to have some of my Bitcoin on an exchange." I mean, like to me,
Dude, did you hear the dogma yesterday, Joe? Some people were like, "Oh fuck, I got an MK4." They're like, "What should I do?" They're like, "I don't know where to send it." They're like, "He's like, should I send it to an exchange?" They're like, "Oh, don't send it to an exchange. Exchange are unsafe." I'm like, "What is wrong with you? Just tell them to send it to the fucking exchange." But they're like
it's
so
great.
dogmatic.
It's
It's
crazy.
Ideology,
just
dude. It's ideology. I was arguing with people in that space yesterday too.
like I'm like, dude, just get it the fastest you can in the safest place. Why are you
Well,
guys
well,
making it
There's
so
I
people
had
difficult?
a
people that are so consumed with ideology, and like Joe said, they have an idea of what they believe Bitcoin should be, that they're more concerned with people adhering to the ideology versus prioritizing what people actually care about. Like they're unable to look at it from the perspective of the average person who's dealing with this shit, doesn't fully understand what's happening, and can't
I know they
process
literally
that.
said not.
Like who cares if they don't send the fucking funds to the best configuration? Who cares if they don't send
That
it
was
to a
crazy
fucking
yesterday.
off cold wallet? Like the fact is they are more concerned whether they're going to wake up tomorrow and not have their life savings. Period. Full stop. That is it. That is their priority right now. And if that is their priority right now, then
one of the
What
guys,
happened to him?
Brian. I think it's Brian talking. I can't. My app is glitching, but one of the guys, and he's a friend of mine, Bitcoin Tina. He apparently one of my clients was texting me today. He was screamed at and berated on Clubhouse and by Bitcoin Tina and a few others because he didn't have his Bitcoin in a hardware wallet. It wasn't in cold storage. He had it on a paper wallet, which that's generally frowned upon by people. But he's had it in a paper wallet since, I think well over 10, 11 years now at this point. And he's never moved it. It's still there. He checked it today. It's funny. But people were telling him, like, put it all in a Coldcard. At the time, it was like a Mark II or Mark III. He's like, I don't want to. I just have it in a paper wallet. It's fine. It's in my safe. I don't need to do anything with it. It's okay. And sure enough, he's like, I know damn well if I would have done this, Joe, I would have lost all my Bitcoin. I would have moved it to this CoinKite wallet and Coldcard. I would have just used the random number generator, thing without rolling. I'm not rolling dice. And I would have lost it. And it's a massive amount of Bitcoin. I mean, it's an 8-figure amount of Bitcoin. Still got it in a paper wallet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that is crazy though. That was a conversation last night. He's like, okay, am I going to put it on an exchange or am I going to roll dice for the next hour and get this all configured? That was crazy.
The thing is, Joe, like that guy with that 8-figure size, he should literally be breaking it up into a few wallets, having some with Fidelity custody, having some in the ETF. Like that's too much for any single place, in my opinion. I think that's crazy.
The interesting thing about him is that, like, Bitcoin is not even the primary source of his wealth, which is like, I mean,
oh, he's really rich.
He's really rich. Yeah, he is.
Oh, okay.
So he's like this.
So it's not even that much for him.
For him, it's not. For him, it's not.
Oh, okay, then it's not that big deal. If that's like all you have, you should have like at 10 places. Would you agree? Like 10 spots.
Yeah, I mean, I tell him all the time. I tell him I think it's crazy that you're doing that. And he's like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I've checked it. It's okay. But like, he's like, I don't trust any of these vendors. Like, he's like, I don't trust
I don't either, really. Like, I had Coldcard too, and I was like, you know what? I didn't even use it. I was like, this thing feels sketchy. I was like,
well, the thing that I always never got about that, if you've ever interacted with the actual device, to me, it felt like very much like some guy built it in his garage. Like,
that's exactly why I didn't trust it. I was like, at least Trezor, like you could see the people on LinkedIn. They had a real company. I was like, this is just some like random guy in his house. It felt weird.
And people like that. They're like, oh, I like the clickable buttons and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I didn't like it. I haven't looked into it. I really, if somebody has some information on this, like, so I have like a bunch of Bitcoin on OpenDimes. I gave to, I don't know if you guys know what that is, OpenDimes. I gave to the kids, and like, the Bitcoin's never moved. It's just sat like, here's a Bitcoin on an OpenDime. Like, I don't know at all. Nobody's talking about those. Are those secure? I mean, have people had issues with their random number generator? I probably need to do that this weekend, right? Do you know about those OpenDimes? You know how they work?
No.
Brian, do you know about that? If Brian's still here? I don't know.
I think
an OpenDime is basically a hardware device where you think of it as like a prepaid gift card for Bitcoin. You load some Bitcoin onto it and you can physically transfer it to somebody and they can spend it.
Yeah, I gave them to the kids. Like, I'd load up a Bitcoin and be like, here you go, niece, nephew, or whatever. And I don't know. Have you heard anything about those being flawed or issues with those, Wayne?
You know what? I mean, I did see people asking the question and I saw people saying no. But I will caution you that I have not been paying attention to this as 24/7. I was out living my life doing other things today. So I don't.
Why?
Because
you pay attention.
Because I only get one.
Twitter X, man.
I only get one life, man. And you never see those videos where they're like, you spend 90% of the time with your children between the ages of 1 and 18. Well, I think my life will be a little bit different than that, but I want to make the most of that time period. So I did message NVK today, and I didn't really say much other than just to offer some words of support because I know he's going through a tough time. I know a lot of people are extremely mad at him and feel like they want to go after him with his torch and pitchfork. But for the sake of everybody who's involved in all this right now, I was just reaching out to say, hey, look, I know you're going through a tough time. Hope you keep your head on straight and make the most of whatever opportunity you have to help people out who still need the help.
Okay, what I want to know. Okay, and this maybe this, Wayne, but like, I want to take what's the one, Astra? You know this, like, what's is it like say GPT 4.0? Was that the one that was around last year? 4.0. Am I right in that?
Yeah, but really more like 18 months ago, but yeah.
Okay. Well, it doesn't even better. 18 months ago, GPT 4.0. Like, if you were to run the code for the Mark III and Mark IV and the random number generator through 4.0, would it have spotted this defect? Because if the answer is yes, that is, in my opinion, gross negligence on the part of the company for not having that audit done.
Well, Joe, the good news for you is that those models are still available.
That's what I'm saying. But
so you can hire somebody. I know you're not as technical enough to do that, but you could probably find somebody who's a developer who will just take that code and go ahead and do the audit.
I can try it when I get home. Actually, I think 4.0 is still accessible. And this repo I think is on Git, right, Wayne?
Yeah. So I want to know how difficult it was.
I'll try
it. If it was literally people were that lazy 18 months ago not to do this.
In the spaces yesterday, Navan and Wicked said that it only took about $2 to $3 of compute per hour to have done it.
Oh yeah, because it's a table's only 4 billion records. That's nothing.
And they said it wasn't sophisticated at all.
When they said the compute, they were talking about figuring out the seed phrase. Everybody's seed phrase. They weren't speaking about the code issue.
The table is 4 billion records. That's it.
Well, the code issue is pretty straightforward, huh? Isn't the fault with the entropy was it was only a select number of random quote unquote numbers?
It was a fallback library they forgot to remove. A fake number generator.
I think what Joe's trying to get at is he's saying, is the company or is any individual involved in the supply chain of creating that device liable for negligence because something happened that should have been seen or avoided?
Well, they should have ran it through the LLM.
As a non-tech, listen, I'm not a doctor, right? So if somebody dies due to you failing to follow the standard operating procedure, like I would rely on another doctor to opine as to the propriety of the standard operating procedure utilized by the doctor. He can assess what's called the standard of care. What's the standard of care for this? Like, tell me how difficult, how buried, how hard was it to detect this issue?
One thing that's interesting too about this, as Joe, at least from your perspective, is that this is an open source library. So it's not like it's a proprietary piece of software where it's absolutely solely incumbent upon the people who utilize it in their products. There's a whole world of people who could have discovered this, and nobody even bothered.
Well, there was posts of people bringing this up.
I should hang on. Let me just one thing say: if it was that easily discoverable, then nobody bothered to look for it.
I mean,
I don't know if it was.
This is an epidemic. I mean, I have scores of clients, who whether through phishing attacks, social engineering, exchanges that get exposed. Everybody always says, "No, there's nothing we could have done," even though there's 10 red flags that showed you should have done something exchange to prevent someone from suffering catastrophic losses. Oh, we could never have known that this was happening. Give me a break. Like most professional industries have like safety feature after safety feature after a mitigating factor to try to prevent people from getting wiped out. And I'm reading story after story. It's depressing as hell about people getting wiped out, and people are just like, well, just rebuild. Don't worry about it.
No, Joe, just go to the store, get some dice, and sit there and roll them for 4 hours.
I mean, come on.
And then add a Bible verse at the end of your passphrase. That's all you got to do. Cold storage, safe.
I know you jest, but I got to say it. I can't help but, in the face of all this, think to myself that, what the fuck are we doing? We're arguing about BIP 110, and the real enemies and the real battles that we should be fighting is fighting against the government to make sure that we can have good market structure for Bitcoin, creating good, secure, easy to use, usable solutions for people in the marketplace, driving market adoption. I'm so tired of all the fighting in Bitcoin being infighting amongst groups. It's been this way for a very long time, and maybe it's not going to change. But also now, I don't know what to call it, but it's just like this weird influencer thing where everybody's trying to get as many followers as possible and try to signal that they're as influential as possible. Even people who marginally they just don't really know that much about Bitcoin. They're just good in traditional markets, or they're an active investor for a large fund. I really feel like, as a whole, as a community, even though we're not a community, I wish there were more factions and more individuals in these religious wars and these purity tests about who's the true Bitcoiner and who's got the best vision for.
Then why do the hardware wallet manufacturers, if that is a true statement, why is that not required?
Everything else, it's on a spectrum. Technically you could say yes, using a physical object to generate entropy, but then you have all sorts write the word down incorrectly, or there's other
have built-in features to try to mitigate against
Protecting them.
when I get into my car for like 5 minutes, like it's the
has put out Bitcoin addresses with bounties on LLMs and some of the other tools and software that's
money, so we can start finding these, and there's an incentive to find them.
Here in Austin is a friend of mine. I will actually mention that to him when I talk.
Now from Alex Walls. The original tweet is NVK. Did you guys end the 608 because it's too slow? Internal.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it sounds like they were aware of this to me.
Google G-Wave bill request again, or we don't use the random number generator on the 6. It's too slow. Internal true number.
This apart in a way that's responsible. You really have to know how the Coldcard is on the internals. I don't want to say something because I'm pretty sure that part of it was
shitty instead of just fixed. You know what I mean? Was it the default fake generation library they were using?
Can you repeat that again? You said it went from bad to less bad, or went from bad to worse?
Bad to less bad, because like right now the 4s are not hacked, but a lot of people are saying like it's only a matter of time because I don't know, I can't remember the bit counts, maybe 28 to 40 or something. But why wasn't it just 128? You don't find that a little weird?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't want to say anything and even speculate about it because I don't know exactly how those devices work. But I think NVK is the kind of person who anybody who knows him, even just as a public figure, he likes to brag and boast about the security of cold cards, and not even in a competitive way. Like he's often said that his goal is to make it that when somebody goes to steal your Bitcoin, they see that green fucking calculator thing and they know they're just screwed because they can't get anything out of it. So I think that his attitude is that he really wanted this to be and wants cold card stuff to be good products. I think a mistake was just made and it persisted for a long time. And we're now seeing the consequence of it because we have these attackers have these new tools that make their attacks more efficient. And, at the end of the day, Bitcoin security is maintained through the signatures. Is like you have a mathematical function that allows you to prove that a large number is related to another large number. And if you can prove that relationships, the transaction can go through. That's a very simplified way of saying things. And in this particular case, the universe of options to pick that really big number came much smaller than it should have been, so that it was able to guess it randomly. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of just that simple. I don't think that I don't think that I don't think we're going to live in a world where everybody's grandma has to throw their dice 250 times to set up a Bitcoin wallet. I think this really sucks for the people who are impacted. I even heard people saying today that they'll think that cold card stuff in the future will be the most secure because it'll get the most scrutiny. Sort of an anti-fragile sort of attitude. I don't know.
Think it'll even exist, man?
I think it'll exist. I don't want to say too much, but like NVK, he's been around for a long time. He self-funds a lot of things. I don't think they're at risk of, losing revenue on this and going out of business.
Really?
I think. Well,
what?
They could.
It's game over, Wayne. It's game over.
Nobody's ever going to trust one.
No. I'm just saying, from a pure financial standpoint, if they wanted to continue doing what they're doing, I feel pretty good about their ability to do so. I don't think they need the sales to move forward. Now, there's other factors that might be at issue here, in terms of liability and other stuff that I don't really want to get into. But it's not like their sales are going to collapse and therefore the company is going to collapse. They have enough. It's like MicroStrategy. They have enough runway, I believe, to make it to the other side if they want to try to do that. But again,
Wayne?
the brand is tarnished and the trust is severely damaged, and that's huge.
Wayne, is that Wayne saying that?
Yeah. Hey, Gary.
Hey, buddy. You think they survived this? I don't know how they would survive.
I didn't say I think they survived this. I said that This is not a
Sales won't go up. Sales will
if
get
the sales
crushed.
collapse to zero, I am pretty confident.
Lawsuits will be fired off in the dozens.
Yes, lawsuits could happen, and that's what I meant to say by other liabilities. But just based, I think sales for Coldcard devices could go to zero, and NVK could fund the operations of of it for
It may
an
actually go
extended
up.
period of time.
Sales may actually go up after this.
Is it? Do you know if it's a limited business, a limited partnership, or LLC, or is it incorporated into the other?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
How big? How big are they? Are they $1 billion company? $100 million? I mean, how many assets were they? What's the right question? What would you say their service was?
CoinKite has an annual revenue of $3.5 million.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I figured.
and you
Wow.
understand. You understand
Wow.
they're going to get 100.
Joe, I got it. Joe, I got it. I mean, that's my point I'm trying to make. I'm like, wow.
I don't know what. Sorry.
They're a little limited company. He'll just fold that up, right?
Yeah, I would. I think it'd be crazy not to. You're going to spend.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to spend $10 million in legal fees in the next year.
Yeah, like I said, the other liabilities through legal and other things might push it in that direction, but just solely based on revenue coming in from the sale of Coldcard devices alone. It's, this is more like, I don't know. I always look at it as like a side project for all the Coldcard stuff, the Arca stuff, everything else with NVK are kind of like deluxe side projects for him, not like these businesses that need to operate.
So you're saying they're hobbies. They're not really businesses, or little sat on accumulator businesses that are never going to grow, but they're serving something. Are they part of the food chain?
Yeah,
Is that the way
I think Rodolfo just he wanted to see something in the world, and he went and he built it, and he started selling it to other people, and it was that simple.
Yeah.
It wasn't designed to be a big business.
I've had some of those, dude. I've had some of those. Oh wow, look, this is a business, man, but I can't run it. It's not big enough, and it's not small enough. You go sell it to somebody and go, you go run it. The problem is there always tends to be some kind of connection between the two entities. I've seen it squirreled up often, where the guy who had the idea wants a piece of the action because it actually serves part of his business. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's part of a food chain or a marketing chain. I don't know who you're talking about, so I'm just looking at a business that small for it to hold. How many Bitcoin is it holding? It hadn't been attacked for all of it. So what?
Nobody knows.
We're 600 Bitcoin so far, though, right?
No, that Bitcoin was stolen from other people. So there was, I think it's up to over 1,000 Bitcoin now, 1,060 something the last time I looked. And that was mostly small amounts, 0.3 Bitcoin here, 2 Bitcoin there, swept.
That's how you make $3.5 million a year, man. Right?
That's, 1,000 Bitcoin is 60 million bucks, 60,
No, that's where his fees are coming from. I'm just saying he makes $3.5 million, but he's protecting $100 million worth of Bitcoin.
Oh, I'm sure it's much more than that.
That's what I agree. I agree.
I hate to take away from people that have lost a lot of money today, right? Because it's the subject of the day. But is anybody besides me a little surprised Bitcoin's trading at 63,000?
I am.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go to 70 this weekend.
Joe, I am. I find it very interesting that Bitcoin's holding here.
You thought we were going to go down or up?
I don't. I think this is really not good news for Bitcoin, dude. And it's not a one-time weekend problem. It's going to be an ongoing issue now.
Joe, I think this is additional headwinds for the industry and for all of us. But in the face of clarity,
but I think the price is holding up well, Wayne. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm surprised.
I'm surprised.
I think we're going to
too.
rip this weekend and go way higher. To be honest, this weekend.
What I was
65.
What I was trying to say is there's already a lot of bad news priced in, and I think that this was just another thing piled on top of that. I think if this happened at the peak of the market, it might have had a bigger impact. I haven't seen. I don't know if anybody else. I haven't seen any mainstream press articles about this yet. Have there been any? Again, want to reiterate. I was at a museum all day. Wasn't really paying attention.
Dude, it's going to. Hey, Wayne, this is the right answer. Okay, it will take them probably, I don't know, $3,000 an hour analyst for them to actually explain what the fuck is going on. They have no idea. Like, I understand maybe a quarter of what you guys are talking about. So
I mean,
they're going to have a problem framing this up. And they're going to, you know how they're going to frame it up? If it's complicated, bro, they're going to just throw the dish rag and everything else at it.
oh, they'll probably just make up something that says a random number generator in a popular Bitcoin wallet had an error that caused people to lose over 1,000 Bitcoin. This again proves that Bitcoin is insecure and we need better regulation and government protections for people in the industry. That's going to be the theme of whatever mainstream
Right
articles
up.
come up.
Right up. And that's why I think this is very timely. Like, I find this really coincidental right here. If you wanted to throw, I mean, it did not cost much to do this. I'm sure it wasn't planned yesterday.
I'm
It's
pretty
just the
confident that
timing.
whoever figured this out figured it out and just executed it as fast as
The
they could.
timing is oh, you think so, huh?
Well, yeah, this
Huh.
isn't the kind of thing that you sit on. If you find
Yeah.
money on the sidewalk, you pick it up, especially if it's 60 million bucks. You don't wait and see if somebody else is going to come along and find a better way or a more efficient way to pick it up.
Well, that's why I've never gone to jail. Shit. Now I figured it out.
In terms of media, I don't know if it's going to be that crazy. The thing too is, I don't know if anybody's really mentioned this. Bybit got hacked for what was it, $3 billion by North Korea about a year and a half ago, and that wasn't even that big of news, you know. And this is going to be less than that amount of money, too. So I don't know if, and Bitcoin's not that topical right now, really. It is a little bit because there's a potential, you know, obviously that we could have bottomed. Obviously, that Bitcoin's, you know, outperformed, you know, tremendously outperformed AI this month, which, you know, is a good thing. But I don't think it's going to be that big a deal in the media. I think the thing the media cares about is mainly price, and you know, the fact that price it isn't dumping because of this is pretty good. You know, this is already factored into price, and I think Asteroid could be right. You know, I think we could go up a little bit, you know, over the next week potentially. I think it's going to be a lot of chop maybe for, you know, the time being. But yeah, I don't see why we can't go up to 70K. It looks all right. You know, you put my hippie hat on sometimes, you know, we got the moon, the full moon the other day. Sometimes it takes a couple days to play out, then you jump. So,
Full
you know,
moon analysis.
I
Evan, weren't
mean,
you supposed to go on a date tonight? Why are you on Twitter? Go on your
I,
date. Go on your
uh,
date. You're a young man. Go on your date.
well, when did I tell you I was going to go on a date tonight, Joe?
Well,
Yeah, talking about full moon analysis. But yeah, no, my throat's a little sore. I don't know if I'm coming down with something, so I probably should stay home and rest. I don't know if it's just allergies, but yeah. Nah, man. I mean, I'm heading to Greece in about a month, so don't worry about me. I have a lot of fun activities, you know, planned out, and you know, I mean, getting grinding over the summer and all that. I just set up my email list. You know, for the first time, had about 600 people on my email list that are received an email from Evan Aldo for the first time. So got the newsletter going. You know, yeah. So I mean, that's that. But no, I think we could still go up a little bit more. I think we go up there next week or two. I don't think the media is going to care that much. The
Nobody
media is,
cares. Nobody cares about this. They don't care.
yeah, I don't. The media is biased for clicks and money, like everybody else. Is this really going to get?
I think we get back to 70K next week.
We
Honestly,
could, bro. We could. That's what I've been saying, bro. That's what I've been saying.
I don't know. I would take
Um,
the other side of that asteroid. I think just in the face of the friction over the Clarity Act, I don't think we're going to see higher prices.
This tweet from Danny Knowles is easily the greatest tweet of the day. How did Dennis Porter miss the biggest breaking news event in 5 years?
Yes, I liked that. Is that the one where his like picture is being broadcast up into the air like the bat signal?
Yes.
Yes, that was excellent. I love that tweet. That's what we need. Dennis could have prevented all of this.
Gary, did you do this rolling dice Bitcoin painting today? Did you do that today? It's amazing.
Finished it, I think yesterday I finished it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank
I
you,
really
buddy.
like this one.
Thank you. Turned out well.
Wow.
Thanks.
what's the name
And
of
you
it?
even incorporated a little smiley face into the die. I mean,
Oh
that's
my
incredible.
goodness, Joe is looking.
That is incredible here. I like. Wow.
You know what's interesting? Cloudflare has a famous lava lamp display inside their office, and they use a video feed of that lava lamp to generate entropy for various products and services inside their company. It would be interesting if we had, like, in the future, we have hardware wallets that have a little tiny, like, micro, like RFID sized lava lamp inside of them with a laser that just examines the laser and uses that for its generating um,
Well,
randomness or some other physical
Wayne,
character, some other physical thing.
Wayne, I should have known this was going to become an issue with CoinKite because if you're old as I am, you bought at one point a block clock. Did you ever buy a block clock, Wayne?
I have a block clock. I had it on my
They always
desk,
break.
and I found that it was psychological torture to sit there all day and watch the price move. And so
No, well, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. This is the
I
warning sign
unplugged it.
because I have a block clock and it stopped working. And I'd have to reset it every like 2 months and then it stopped working. Like I did this like six and then I just left it because I'm just like, okay, I'm sick. So my block clock says like Bitcoin's at 37,000 or something. And I'm sick of this thing constantly has glitches and stops working. So I just gave up on it.
Yeah, mine didn't suffer from problems that frequently, but about every 6 months I'd have to restart it, and it was as simple as plugging it in, unplugging it and plugging it back in. It would work
Well, a
for me.
broken block clock, maybe we'll go to 37,000. I can say a broken clock is right every few years.
As
So, Astrid, you still think we're going to 70,000 this weekend?
No, next week. Yeah, I think so. Why wouldn't we?
why not
I think
80? What's magical about 70?
Well, we have to get to 70 first. I just don't think this is gonna have an effect on price like you think. I really don't think so. It's not. It hasn't. Why would it have it? Why would it have an effect now?
I think it's because there's so much bad news that's already been priced into the market that people are just like, oh,
Yeah, it's like,
all right.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you get
And like,
you get kicked in the nuts for the 15th time. It doesn't hurt that much worse than the 14th.
and I think it's kind of complicated too, right?
Yeah, it'd be different if like a major exchange was hacked, then the press and the politicians would be all over this. But because this is a hard story to nail down and explain, and because the people affected by it are basically retail investors, all over the world.
Bunch of retards.
You know,
You wanted to say retards, but you held back, son.
no, I did not want to say retards. I feel incredibly terrible. I feel terrible for these people. I mean, these are people, for the most part,
Dude, I'm not talking about the people who lost money.
they thought they did the right thing,
Excuse me, I'm not talking about those
and they
people.
thought they were secure, and they woke up and they're, in many cases, their life savings, the stuff that they were counting on, a big portion of it was gone. That's terrible.
Fact.
I think one benefit that'll come out of this is that it'll heavily incentivize the other wallet providers, all the other vendors who sell these hardware wallets and everything, to really take a much deeper look at what they're doing. And then who knows, maybe we'll have some sort of standards and standardized tests and things like that these wallets go through before each new version comes out. Maybe there'll be the incentive for people to provide some more transparency there, and for people to say, hey, you know what, we've used AI and tools that were developed with the help of AI to, beat the hell out of this thing before we released it. Maybe that becomes something along those lines, becomes standard practice. So maybe there's a small silver lining to this cloud.
Victor, are you okay, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Astro, everybody? Yeah, I'm
Are
good.
are
I'm
your
good.
funds safe? Are your funds safe?
Yeah, we're safe. I do have a couple cold cards, and I actually ran into trouble with their service in the past, but so I don't use them for much. But I will segue into my question. I think no one's gonna trust any built-in random number generator anymore. It's been a while since I've set up a Trezor or a Ledger, but do those have dice rolling built into seed generation? They don't. I don't think they do. Only Coldcard had it,
I
right?
don't remember it, but I haven't set one up in like 5 years.
So how do people actually use dice nowadays to set up a seed? You can't go on a website and punch it in. That ain't gonna work. So what? Did I lose you?
Honestly, man, I don't know. I set mine up like 6 years ago. I don't remember, you know. I have two, you know what I'm saying? It's been so
So,
long since I've messed with it. I
so,
don't remember.
so what's the advice for the latest crop of Bitcoiners? They're using hardware wallets.
Don't use the one that was hacked.
Okay, right on. All right. It sounds like we got some work to do. So, yeah, I didn't mean to kill the conversation. I was just actually wondering how people are actually going to
No,
go
I
forward.
think. I mean, I think it was the fault in this was the manufacturers of this hardware wall. You got to vet them more. I think, right? Is that I think that's the moral of this story. Freaking
But, but
doom.
but Coldcard they were like the most autistic. We are the hardest. Air gap,
Yeah,
9 volt battery. You
these
know,
autists are retarded, man. And then for lack of a better word, sorry to be politically incorrect, but some of these autistic people I deal with, they are not that smart, bro. I know you
right,
didn't mean it
right.
in that sense, but
There's
like, everybody's always capping a little bit to get more sales. You know what I mean? That people talk a big game, but everybody's larping a little bit. You know what I mean? Obviously,
there's
they were.
another element here, which is that complexity leads to problems. It's almost inescapable. The more complexity, the more options you have in a product, especially one where security is important, the more attack vectors that you have. It's why we don't have 11 optional hash functions and 7 signature types for Bitcoin.
So if a newbie comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to regenerate my seed," what do you tell them at this point?
Uh,
I
don't use
think
the
you.
cold card MK.
That's not good enough, though, is it? I mean, we're really in trouble here. I mean, I would say use multi-sig with different vendors' hardware.
Me too. That's what I would say.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That would avoid
Nothing,
all problems, right? I
nothing.
mean,
That's the only answer. That's the only thing I'll use at this point. Shout out to Austin and Unchained. But yeah, I think the rest of it's all suspect.
the
And
Multi-sig also has its downsides as well. I don't want to dissuade people. I'm just calling attention to this. If you have multi-sig with multiple vendors, now you're dealing with software clients and other things that can introduce human error and make things more complicated for you. And there's also, if Ledger updates their software and it has a vulnerability, and Ledger is one of the hardware wallets and software components in your mix, then you've got a problem. So it's not necessarily a case that more is always better.
I
The more
disagree.
complexity you
Sorry.
I'm just saying, the more complexity you throw in there, the more opportunities that you create. So there has to be a balance. But there should be a balance between uh, uh, complexity and just a sane, like somebody who has a 3 of 5 multi-sig where every single where they have like 5 different hardware wallets and involved in that is not necessarily a better solution, because you're creating more opportunities for everybody in the supply chain and for yourself to screw up.
So Wayne, I don't answer if you're uncomfortable saying so, but you're right there where Unchained is. Have you come across any of those Unchained guys? If you're willing to share.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of my guys, actually, Buck Purley, he went to work for Unchained and was the head of building their products for a while. So
So,
I set up a multi-sig wallet with Unchained, but
mhm.
I actually never funded it. I think they put a $500 or something in there for me, and I still have it, but I never funded it because I just wasn't comfortable with how things were set up there at the time.
So you mentioned like if you have a problem with one of your keys, you said Ledger, but in this case, I do have a cold card on one of my vaults over to Unchained, and I'm like, oh, this is great, this is perfect. I don't have to worry. We still have 2 non-cold card keys for that vault. So I would push back against that. I mean, I'm still looking for. Point is, I'm still looking for the fault with collaborative custody at any of these collab custody vendors.
Victor, you might be screwed. How do you know they didn't use a cold cut for theirs?
I actually was on their. They had a live stream today talking about, and well, I mean, I trust them that they're not lying, that they didn't use Coldcard for their enterprise key.
You know, one of the things that people don't often think about, or at least is not mentioned, is that if you use somebody like Unchained for a multi-sig solution or Casa or whomever, you're disclosing how much Bitcoin you hold to those parties. And that's a significant thing that some people just don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, all mine is KYC anyway from way back in Coinbase days. I don't think I can escape it. I think that's all out there. I did do Wasabi for a while, and I tried to mix it all up, and that caused some issues. And then I went back to the light side. But I don't know that. I mean, unless you go through a lot of effort and pay a lot over spot price, you're not going to build that big of a KYC stack, non KYC stack. Sorry. So I don't know that. I think it's hard to hide that anyway. I think people's stacks are known for anyone that does enough digging.
Victor.
Yeah.
So I have those, but I have the same wallet for each thing, which is worrying me. Which I'm going to create another one with two different vendors. Luckily, it's not MK4 or MK3. But nevertheless, I realize that's a vulnerability. You know,
I'm sorry, I missed that point.
I have Unchained too, but I have the same vendor for both keys, the same iteration. I realize that's sort of a weakness.
Yes and no, because even if they have your keys, they don't have the config file, and the way
Yeah, they
they
do.
handle.
They have it. It's
who,
exposed
who has it?
because I spent from it. I've
Yeah,
transferred back
but
and forth.
they addressed this today though. They always use new addresses for every change address. So as long as
Does
you
that mean
did,
it's hidden?
it's hidden. You're safe. I mean, from what I understand, unless you like used your config file with Sparrow Wallet and did a transaction outside of Unchained and reused an address, you would have to go through extraordinary measures to have exposed yourself there, and to
Are you
where someone
sure?
else. That's what they said today. If you replay
Oh,
the
really?
conversation,
Am I safe?
you're safe. You're safe as long as you didn't go outside of their
Because
environment. You're safe.
here's what I noticed: when I spent, say I spent one Bitcoin, or say I had one Bitcoin and I spent zero point 0.8, it would create a new address for me, right?
Correct.
That was
Correct.
like no spending from it.
Correct.
So then your stuff is hidden.
Yeah,
From
because they never use it. They never reuse any addresses for any purposes. So you're safe. I don't know if they replayed the thing from today, but their live stream today handled all these concerns.
oh, really?
Yep. Yep.
So even if I did have a weak key, there's no map. There's no way to map them together. You say?
Yeah. Even if you use two Mark III compromised keys, um, the only attack vector at that point would be the sniper replaced by feed that's never been done at this point.
Victor, is that live stream recorded and published anywhere?
I don't know. I can dig into it. But yeah, it was at 3 p.m. Central Time today, and it was pretty informative. So really, the worst case scenario is your two keys are both.
Did they do it just because this hacked?
Yes. It was strictly
Why
for the.
wasn't I? Why wasn't I informed? I'm a major.
Check
I'm a
your
big
email.
timer over there.
They
Oh,
sent
I
out
gotta check it.
they only sent it out like hour or two before the thing, I think. So I just happened to stumble across it. But yeah, it's informative, and I guess the TLDR is that you're safe. The biggest if you're in that worst category of 2 cold cards, your biggest decision now is move it now before the sniper replaced by fee thing is an attack, an actual
What is
attack.
that? I don't know what that is. What is that?
So when you broadcast your transaction,
Oh, when it's in motion,
yeah,
it can
yeah, when
say
it's right, correct.
say
When
you
it's
have
in
two
motion,
MK3 cards and it's in
right,
motion, it's exposed. So they
correct,
got to do it in like under like 10 minutes.
correct. That's the one. So
Which
that
I see.
yep.
Ah, shit, man, this is scary. Fuck.
Well, but you don't. If you want to just sit tight, they're going to figure out how to use their key and not broadcast it. I guess they're probably going to talk. I'm just speculating here, but I think they're just going to talk to the miner directly and clean those
Well,
up.
luckily I don't have MKs, so mine are safe for the moment.
Yeah,
But I do want to create another one with two different vendors, just for
yeah,
to be on the extra safe side. And I'm
yeah,
gonna also buy a BitKey, and I'm gonna have like a portion there where I spend,
yeah.
and then the other portion I don't. Like a checking account versus a savings account. Using the black BitKey. Um, so I'm gonna split it up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Just
I think the safest thing that I know about now would be to do dice roll seeds, one on Trezor, one on Ledger, and shove it all in Unchained. I think that handles every
I
eventuality.
think you're right. Dice and a complicated passphrase. The
Eh,
unfortunate thing is it gets a little bit
yeah,
hard to manage. That's the problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with the passphrase part, but the rest of it I do. But that goes back to my first question: is what do you do about this dice to seed phrase? That's the. I mean, if you already have a cold card, I think that's the one. Ironically, that's the one thing that cold card's really good at. You can keep the thing air gapped all day long and have it generate your seed, and you're done.
So I don't know. I would say for all of us who don't have any of that, don't really do anything. Just start to research and plan, but don't do anything. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Like I just don't like freak out, just start moving shit around and lose it. It's like just if you don't have any of these MK things, you're fine for now.
okay,
Obviously, in the future, if one of them gets hacked, you sort of want diversity across the multi-sig because that kind of covers you against almost everything. You know what I'm saying? That could possibly happen.
yeah. For the people who are concerned, can't they just make a new passphrase wallet with like a 50 character crazy passphrase, shove everything in there, and just keep the compromised seed, but use this crazy long passphrase wallet? Where's the downside in that strategy? Just for people to buy time.
I think that's dumb because it's say you use like a whole book or something to give yourself an insane, you know what I mean, like an insane entropy to be safe. You're gonna have to like type that in and I would just move it to an exchange, to be honest.
Do the exchanges limit you on what you can deposit per day or whatever? Or I haven't.
Some of them have withdrawal like Cash App's like Cash App's like $2,500 a week or something
It's
crazy.
terrible. Yeah, they always kick it back.
So like, so it would take you like whatever. Say you had $1 million, you would almost never be able to get it out of Cash App.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
but so don't use Cash App. Use like, I think Gemini should be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
Whenever I sent you an exchange, it was usually because actually, yeah, Gemini have Cash App big things. So I needed to pay taxes. Like big, I don't know, not big, but like
You know,
whatever. It's like 20,000, 30,000.
if you have $1 million, you need to push somewhere quickly. I mean, going back to, I mean, I'm not, I got nothing to do with Unchained other than I have history with them and like them. But I think you could call them up and just have them handle it with their keys and everything. Or you have one key. I don't know how you would do it, but that might be a better way than an exchange too. And I've had a lot of difficulty withdrawing from exchanges.
You talked about it.
Yeah, I was
Well,
pissed.
you're doing those like 7-figure ones. Like I have never done more than like 30,000.
No. It wasn't 7 figures. I wish.
What was it like?
I mean, I did like 1 or 2, whatever, Bitcoin. But even that, I mean, yeah, FTX, Crypto.com, Celsius. I've had trouble with all of them. They're all pissed. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it was about me, but and I'm not hiding. I'm all KYC from the get go, so I don't know what the problem was. But anyway, they won't tell you. All they tell you is your withdrawal request is canceled. So anyway, I don't mean to. I'm hijacking the conversation. Let's talk about something more relevant. So,
Let's get back to stretch. Where do you think we're going?
we're going to par. We're going back to par within a month.
Do you think we're gonna? You think, you think Bitcoin's gonna rally this week?
Well, I don't think that this CoinKite thing is going to catch mainstream media. You can't go on Fox or CNN and start yapping about Coldcard and CoinKite and random number generators. Nobody wants to hear that. I think the impact of this is going to be pretty limited. FTX involved, the number one donor to how many politicians. That was way different. This thing, nobody wants to hear about it. So that's my opinion. We'll see, but I think we're going to crab some more here at 60.
It is getting boring. Yeah. I mean, there's always one crab ass month in the summer. It's probably going to be August where you're just watching paint dry, man. It's just how it is. I think the big debate is after all is said and done, do we jump up to 90K or do we make a lower low? My base case is still more positive, still more upward. You know, Bitcoin's been doing better than triple Qs this month. So good start to the second half of the year, better than AI. So, I mean, we'll get through these hacks. Stuff like this happens. It is a little scary. It's very sad, quantum computing and all that shit. And, I guess the fear of like Terminator, that stuff coming to fruition. But you got to take a positive outlook. Um, I think that obviously, the ETFs are good. If you're a little bit scared of that, if that makes you sleep better at night, keep some of the ETFs if you really know what you're doing. I mean, most hardware wallets are pretty good. I know Joe Carlasari mentioned earlier paper wallets. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on that, but isn't that even like more secure than hardware wallets? Because really nobody knows your damn like thing. Because the people that made the hardware wallets kind of know it, technically like Ledger, if they really wanted to, they probably could find your keys and such. But I feel like paper wallets, like the original way Satoshi created that, that's, kind of intriguing because you just have the code on the piece of paper, you print it out, I think. But it's not even a seed phrase on the paper wallet, right? It's just you just write down all these weird ass numbers and letters, right? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody do it right now. Check because you go on the site and you generate the paper wallet in
Yeah.
2 seconds. You just print it out. But the problem is you're gonna have to type all that shit in if you want to access your shit. But
Yeah,
you know,
the other problem
I've
is
created paper wallets. I've created paper wallets before. I haven't put anything on them, but I created them just to see how the process works. You should follow the good OPSEC, like, dedicated computer, air gapped, all that kind of stuff. The way it uses the entropy is you smash your fingers on the keyboard, drag your mouse around sufficiently. Now, I can't say for any certainty if the entropy on that is adequate, but what you end up getting is it'll generate several wallets, and it's a piece of paper that you can fold in half and keep the two keys together, stick it in the family Bible, whatever. I had considered it just for old school tradecraft, right? I mean, is it risky? Yeah. If someone gets a piece of paper, they got your stuff with no hassle. But it is outside of the digital realm, and I do think that we're going to see a resurgence in old school tradecraft, up to and including more human to human stuff and not human to digital, because I think that's where AI is going to really insert itself. So it's something to consider. I would read about it and research. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, and I have played around with it. It's a very interesting process. I've not put a single sat on any of them.
all that said, though, all of these signing devices, hardware, they've all, none of them actually been hacked, right? So I think these hardware devices are still solid. you know, like to today's point, it was seed generation that was a fail. It was nothing to do with Coldcard as far as keeping your private key private. And as far as I know, Ledger and Trezor too, none of them have ever exposed private keys. Um, if I'm wrong there, I'd love to hear it.
Well, the most important thing is not to expose it, but also to make it so it's actually of sufficient bits, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it didn't.
And
It didn't do a basic requirement that it should have done.
yeah, and I think at least in the past 5 or whatever years of hardware wallets, this one particular bug today is the first time I've ever heard of it.
I can't remember hearing about one either that was like fatal like this. You know,
Yeah,
I don't remember one before.
yeah. I think this is the only time it's ever happened, as far as I know. So I mean, hardware wallets are still fine. I would not use a paper wallet. I made some just as a goof once. But then if I print it up, now all that information's in the printer and the network. Who knows what in the web browser. I was just playing around with it, but I would never. I don't know how to generate one offline. I guess if you had a laptop and a printer and the code and just yank it from the network and do it all locally, maybe. But that scares the crap out of me.
I guess if your internet and your computer's compromised, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Um,
Yeah,
the Winklevoss, I think when they first bought the stuff big time in like 2013, they were using, I think it was paper wallets, man, if I'm not mistaken. I think is what were there hardware wallets around back then in 2013? Do you guys know?
I
I
don't
don't
I
think
don't think
so.
so. No, it was all
No.
computer based. It was
No,
all like
they
little.
yeah, they were using paper wallets, and one of them had like a mild heart attack when he went through airport security with like the paper wallet in his pocket or something through the X-ray machine. He was afraid that the image would have been captured going through the X-ray machine or whatever. Um, so yeah, but no, they were paper wallets. I don't have a problem with it, but you bring up a good point because yeah, I mean, if you create it on your, it's not really. How could you create it offline? You would need a
Right.
yeah. You can't create it. I don't see how you would be able to create it offline. So you're not. Yeah, there's a risk in that unless you format your computer. That's what you would do. Format your computer and then immediately like just do it. You know what I mean? Make sure your internet's
And
secure.
then wipe your computer again.
Yeah, yeah. Then wipe
Right.
your computer again after you print it out. That would be pretty foolproof. Well, not foolproof, but
And,
that would be pretty secure.
There is a
and that's
way.
relevant to this. Sorry.
There
Go
is
ahead.
a way to store that result on paper without it being so easy as someone finds your paper and they can go get your keys. You can then encrypt that in some fairly simple encryption algorithm that you can share with your family. So what you have is an encrypted version, and I've come up with ways to do it. It's quite easy, that everyone knows.
Share the PDF how to do it exactly.
Well, like let's say you just pick another seed phrase, like everybody knows, a relative's name, and then you use a Caesar cipher where you write down the relative's name, and then you advance every character by the position of the alphabet of the letters of the your relative's name as you go through the seed phrase. All right. I mean, I'm sure a computer could figure that out, but who the fuck's going to figure that out? It's not as easy as a Caesar cipher where you just move it 3 characters over, right? It's randomness because they don't know what your seed phrase is, but everyone knows your relative's name, and they just say, take your relative's name, take that thing and decode it, and then you can put that into Excel. It'll do it for you. It's very slick. But anyway, then you get this random bunch of characters. I've written this, a simple thing to do that. All caps, no, just alphanumeric, all caps. Limit it to that. Claude can write the code for you. It's a way to do it. I think that's actually what I do with my seed phrase. Right? I don't like the idea of anything you can just find and then you have access to your coins. It's just crazy, right? You can't transport that, or you can't where are you gonna put it, right? If it's then encrypted at least in a simple way, then some dummy that finds it can't do anything with that. Hey, but I got a hot take on this whole development for you is what this and the final analysis on this bug. What has happened is and it's not gonna be popular, just partly tongue in cheek, but the real Bitcoiners, CoinKite, have been revealed as amateurs. This fucking avoidable fiasco would have never happened on BlackRock or Fidelity. No fucking way. Amateurs. And all the people were pushing Coldcard. And they were amateurs. You got to admit it. Am I right?
Well,
I
the
mean,
ironic part about
sorry if I add
the,
something here real quick. I mean, this entire conversation is just strengthening the argument for the ETFs, like jumping through mental masturbation loopholes on how to hide this and that, and like they're going to take my keys and all this nonsensical garbage. Like, do we really think Bitcoin would be of any value if they just came for everybody's keys? Like, you think anybody would speculate on it anymore? I just like, I have a really tough time like listening to conversations like this and thinking like 99.9% of people should just buy the ETF, right? Like Joe was saying, you have like, there's a counterparty there, right? And the simplicity of it, like you're literally taking years off your life stressing, you know, if you wrote it down correctly, or you're like hiding it properly, or like you have to do like algorithmic ciphers to write down your seed phrase, right? I just, you know, and like, sure, like it goes against like the ethos and like whatever, you know, what Satoshi wanted. And I mean, the goal is to just appreciate your wealth. I mean, that is like the end goal of it all.
I mean,
Truly.
I think Bitcoin's dead then. Like, there has to be a good balance between the two. If everybody did 99% ETFs, like, what the fuck's the point of the network? And you got to keep the network going. I think people underestimate how valuable the network is.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like
but
who
there's
is
still going to
actually
be plenty
using the
of.
network? Like,
Well,
hold on,
yeah, but
who someone
like
has their
truly.
hand up? Who has their hand up? Crypto in my vein.
I
What's
would
going on?
agree. I would agree that it's not for everybody, but some way of self custody is very important. And having to do a cipher and write down and play these games is fun for some people, and it's enough to keep things honest where you can do it. Right? That's not that complicated. That's single seed phrase self custody, pretty well secured. And so you have to be able to have self custody. It should be strongly encouraged. It's not for everybody, that's when the big boys take over and you get more centralization. You get all these centralized custodians. That's fine as long as you have the option, right? And it's exercised, and everybody should do it that is willing and able.
I think self custody is going to be viewed by like driving a manual transition car in like 10 years. Like, people are still going to do it, but the majority of people
It's not
won't.
even
You know
like
what I mean?
driving a manual, Evan. It's like driving a Model T Ford as your daily, and you have to drive an hour away to do it. Like it's beyond impractical. Like it's insanity.
yeah,
Uh,
but again, like, might as well just shut down shop because Bitcoin will not work. Well, like, why the hell just be here? Go buy something else.
This
Like,
isn't a Bitcoin only issue. This is cryptocurrency in general. The same logic applies to stablecoins as well. If you're one of these people who think stablecoins are going to gain mass adoption with these sort of hack issues and security issues and user interface issues, I think you're nuts because it's nowhere near being ready for prime time. I can tell you tons of people who have lost millions of dollars in stables because of their coins or clicking on the wrong link or
What happened?
phishing
What
attacks.
happened to their stable coins?
Same thing. Phishing attacks, clicking on the wrong link, exposing their private key. It's the same story. Oh, I'm sorry, you clicked on the wrong link. There goes your net worth.
yeah, well, I mean, let's be fair. Like, if you were using a hardware wallet, 99% of the time that wouldn't have happened until now, until today, until this one. You know what I mean? I
Who's
mean,
that Prometheus guy?
these people that for clicking one link and losing millions of dollars, they were using hot wallets. I mean, that's just idiotic.
Most people use hot wallets. How do you think that they want to
Yeah, but
interact with the internet on a
ju-
hot wallet on their phones?
yeah, but
So what's the
you
solution, Joe?
I
don't
mean,
put $1 million
the
on a
solution
hot
that
wallet. That's the solution.
you have to legitimately question the product fit. Okay, you have to question after 10 years they can't figure this crap out. Even Phantom Wallet, right? Like there's people that have lost millions of dollars on Phantom Wallet because they clicked on the wrong link. And it's pretty user friendly, right? So the idea that like, okay, we're going to have billions of people on chain, and we know that there's going to be a significant portion, let's just say 5%, which is significant, who are just going to lose all their money interacting through the interface. That's
Hello, hello,
unacceptable.
hello, hello.
Yes, hello.
Who's this loser?
Get out of here.
Hey,
Why did they get on the stage?
Joe, you
for
make a really good point, though. One of the points you
for
make, Joe, is all crypto has these problems.
Stop letting all these people up, Shepard. Let only people we know. I hate all these
Let
fucking
Fred
randos.
talk. Let Fred talk.
Fred,
Stop
talk.
interrupting him.
Hey, no, can you hear me?
No more rando. Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, we
Yeah.
hear you.
So
Shepard.
I think you made a really good point, Joe, is that these things are not specific to Bitcoin. This is specific to all cryptography, right? All cryptocurrencies. All cryptocurrencies have these same vulnerabilities. ETH, stablecoins, you name it. And stablecoins could be just as vulnerable, right? There's nothing different between the cryptography here.
To play devil's advocate, the only differences that I'm aware of, the ability, and this happens frequently, of Circle as the provider to intervene and say, I know, hacker, you think you're clever and stole $10 million, but sorry, we're clawing that back. That's being returned. Now, to me, if I'm a user, I love that. I think that's a fantastic feature. I think the fact that I could hire Joe or
Yeah,
anybody to
except
go,
they can move the thing before they claw it back, right?
no, not with stables. Stables can literally be burned. Where are you going to move a stable to? Oh, you mean sell it? You mean sell the stable?
On
Oh, is it-
exchange, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. If you sell it and get it to Bitcoin or something else, or get to Monero,
Which
you're
is
good.
what happens, right?
Yes,
When
you
these
need to
things
act swiftly.
happen on stables or ETH, they just liquidate it and they're washed.
That's true. That's the risk.
But this is
Nobody
I
recovers.
agree, Joe,
Nobody
this is going to
recovers
set
any of these stable coins.
back uh, the self-sovereignty movement around self-custody. It's a complicated thing. It has a lot of benefits if you can figure it out, but it requires discipline and know-how through time. It's not like you can set it up right. You also have to maintain it through time and deal with the changes of life and changes of circumstance. There is a great application if you want to have some just in case the shit ever hits the fan. I would have some. Whether I put the whole thing in there or whether I put the whole thing in a single wallet, I think that those single points of failure I just would not do in this world.
Right, Thomas,
we don't even.
Thomas, do you fly in airplanes?
Yeah.
Okay, you take airplanes, right? You're aware that airplanes crash occasionally, right? They crash occasionally, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a question of probabilities, right? It's literally, right? So if we look at probabilities, right, 99.997% of all the Bitcoin is okay. So yeah, you're right, but actually the real chance is you just screw it up yourself and you forget your seed phrase. That's the real risk, right? It's sort of like, you're more comfortable driving, but some other guy just had a few beers.
Let's extend the airplane metaphor, Fred. Yeah, you fly and you risk a catastrophic outcome, but I think the metaphor is more apropos to say that you're going to fly the plane, right? Because
my point is this: is that realistically, this is actually safe. Like statistically, this is safe. If you use, okay, some of these Coldcard were, small 600 Bitcoin were compromised, but it's statistically not a big number, especially considering that 10 million Bitcoin are in self-custody right now. 10 million, right? Most Bitcoin is in self-custody, not in custodians. Most, right? And it's fine. So I do think this is a little bit of us. Look, and I get it. It freaks all of us out because we self-custody. We're going through this healing moment, but I do think it'll be over, and people will be back to self-custody, and they'll be back to flying airplanes, and they're going to be like, yeah, there was the Lockerbie, disaster, and the Concorde, but I still need to fly, I still need to take risks, and that's it. And I do think if you're in Nigeria or Ukraine or Russia or something and you want to get your money out, you will use the Ledger wallet, and that's it. You will do it. And there are plenty of cases where you're not going to trust the official, government institution or whatever it is. So I think the self-custody thing is not going to set it back years. I think this is a temporary thing. I think it's a terrible moment in Bitcoin, but Bitcoin always had these moments. Right? I mean, I remember Mt. Gox, and I really did think that was the end of Bitcoin. I thought that, okay, that's done, But Bitcoin has this way of kind of moving on to the next thing. And I do think this is going to be like a little taste of what quantum is going to be like.
Okay, quick question, Fred. Do you see AI, Mythos, whatever? Do you see them finding more vulnerabilities that will pile on to what happened yesterday or today?
Yeah, I mean, look, these are all known. This is not an unknown thing, right? Do I think that there are some? I think there's all kinds of vulnerabilities, right? And Thomas made a very good point on these things. It's just sort of like wrench attacks, social media engineered attacks, all these other things are also incredibly much easier to do with AI, right? Like I can get a database of all, of Bitcoin owners in the United States, names, addresses, etc., with AI much, much easier than I could before, right? Like find everybody who's been to the Bitcoin conference in Vegas, get me their names, get me their cross-reference with the dark web to get me their addresses and so on. That's not impossible anymore, right? It's there's sites that you can kind of obfuscate it from just doing a simple Google search. I use some of those sites, right? I recommend everybody use some of those sites just to be a little bit off. But you can't stop, organized crime from kind of coming up with lists of Bitcoiners. Not possible. And I don't know. I think you mentioned that, Thomas. I think that's a pretty significant risk also, right? There's all kinds of angles.
Fred, I would go to the point of the social hacking that will get more and more sophisticated. You'll go to you go to your phone. You think your phone's not hacked. You make a phone call. That phone call is emulated by the AI. You're calling,
or it's a video, right? Like
even worse.
How many companies do we know, right? I mean, I don't even want to mention the two that I know, but like I was on video phone calls to verify identity for multi-sig Bitcoin transactions recently. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do this video transaction. Okay, Fred, that's you. Okay, great. The other person, yeah, that's the other person. Great. Okay, we got everybody online. Name one other person on the account. Yep, you said the right thing. That's not secure anymore, right? That video can be manufactured. But yet that's the state of the art right now among custodians, right, with multi-sig.
But even like things like voice print, we use voice print, we use BTNs, your basic telephone number. We use that when we do the two-factor. That's one of the main primary ones. We'll call your mobile. That all gets hacked. The voice print gets hacked. You get a digital clone that's unrecognizably different. You do the video call, like you said, it's an avatar that looks just like you.
But Thomas, hacks matter infinitely less when you have a means with which to pay restitution and pay back victims. When it is irreversible, when it is permanent, hacks they rise to a whole nother threat level, right? So I can't tell you how many times I've had fraudulent charges on my credit card reversed. They're just reversed. Right? Okay, don't worry, we got this. It's canceled and reversed.
I agree 100%, and I think we're going to start to see friction added back into financial transactions. And one of the things I pitched to a regional bank was to sell friction as a service, which is basically saying we will custody assets for you. And I use the term digital assets with them. I didn't say Bitcoin. because I was dealing with the Genius and Clarity Act. And I just said, you should offer friction as a service. And what I meant by that was you should say to people, we got your stuff and we will protect identity and access management. We won't allow you to have your stuff ever stolen because we're going to put all kind of controls in. So you come into withdrawal, you got to do it in person, show us your passport. You can have the money in 7 days. And someone says, well, I don't want that. Well, no, I actually want that. I want an account that has that kind of friction. So I have the time to adjust. Now, when I add that friction to a portion of my accounts, what that does is that makes me a low target threat because there's too much friction. They'll just go to the next person. It's like the old adage, you don't have to outrun the bear, you have to outrun the guy next to you, right? And so you want to be a fruitless target in this world, which is going to be, I just think it's going to be crazy. The next few years are going to be nuts. And I don't know what the exact security solution is. Apart from architecturally, I would maximize to the extent possible your attack surfaces. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket.
There's one thing, Thomas, that we could do as Bitcoiners is push covenants, right? That could help.
Yeah. I like the covenants, and Fred, I think you and I, when we sat in one of these sessions at the Bitcoin conference where they were talking about doing basically vault to vault protocol where my vault can only send the Bitcoin to another address. So they gotta hack this address, and then once it moves, I get an alert. Then they gotta hack the second one before I'm able to lock it down. Stuff
Okay,
like that.
new question. Does this increase or decrease the likelihood of 110?
No effect. Doesn't matter.
I think 110 is gone
Asteroid?
to page 6.
Wait, what does?
Does this CoinKite issue increase or decrease the likelihood of 110 getting through?
Oh, decrease because people realize it's stupid and we got to focus on something that's real, right? Like custody and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? This is actually a serious thing. The BIP 110 thing is just I don't consider it a serious thing at all.
You know, I'm not so
Justin, but
sure how serious it is. Like when Tom's saying that it's bad, this is going to be. It's such an obvious rookie fuck up. Yeah, like I use Tangem, and I've researched it. There's no way this would happen. They have very sophisticated entropy on the generation of the seed phrase. It's like unhackable. This is like unthinkable what happened here. And it's such a small player. It's like a blip. I think this may just blow over. It's like these dumb fucks fucked up, right? And you know the analogy of flying, Thomas, is the only problem is here we had pilot error. We had an incompetent pilot that just fucking crashed the plane and everybody on it, right? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong.
This is not at this point, this is not a code red, right? This is a,
no, but it
bad.
is an influencer embarrassment. Okay, this is where I think people, if you go on these spaces and you've been on it for the last 3, 4, 5 years, CoinKite, it's the gold standard. It's the best. It's the the Mark III, the Mark IV. That's what you want. I heard people say this relentlessly and pump this stuff.
For years, they're like, no, Trezor isn't safe. Ledger's not safe because they also have shitcoin support. Well, the ironic part was it was the most piece of shit one of all, huh? Isn't that the final irony of it all? I had one and I looked at it and I was like, to me, like you said, Joe, or I don't know who said that.
I did. It seemed like it was made in somebody's garage. That's
what I looked at it and I was like, I don't know, this thing seems weird to me. I'm gonna stick with my Trezors, and I'm fucking glad I did. I would have had multi-sig anyways. That would have been fine, but it would have been a little scary.
I've got all these OpenDimes this weekend. Now I got to go spend some time getting all the Bitcoin off the OpenDimes I gave to my nieces.
So let's be fair here, because if the user created like a strong passphrase, they would be protected.
Who cares about that, dude?
No, not even that though, Tob. I guarantee they're gonna get through this passphrase.
It doesn't even matter. They should have. They should have a bug. They literally had a bug in the code. Like it doesn't. You don't need to do a passphrase.
I'm not trying to dismiss. I'm not trying to dismiss.
That's not even what a passphrase. That's not even what a passphrase is for, though.
Or no, the passphrase is an additional security, and if you put in a very good passphrase, you would be protected. I'm not dismissing the fact that what they did was entirely stupid and wrong and just really
Joe,
dumb,
hold
really
on.
outright.
Joe, why are you worried about those OpenDimes?
Yeah, those are not.
I don't trust anything from the company. That's the
See, that's the
problem.
thing I've been hearing yesterday too, Joe. A lot of people have even gotten to the point where they make me paranoid. Say, "Oh, I did dice rolls, but now I'm starting to not trust the company even on the dice rolls." You know what I mean?
I wouldn't trust anything they did. That block clock thing looks like a piece of shit that breaks all the time. This was the most rookie year of all time. Get it off there, Joe. Go move it to someone credible like BlackRock, Fidelity, Block.
Well, to be clear, I got to go track down these OpenDimes because I gave them to nieces and nephews.
Oh my God.
Yes, I know the feeling. That's right. Like
I feel like this.
I
Let me.
I did the dice roll and a passphrase, but
I
because
know we heard
people are
you.
kind of like, oh, I don't trust this company. It's almost making me feel like, oh shit, yeah, maybe I should still do something on top of what I've already done.
I know you told us like 5 times. Joe,
Tao, are you still using it?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So you're still using your Coldcard Mark III with a
Tao,
passphrase?
what are you doing?
Wait. Why doesn't wait?
What the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus Christ!
So I generated my seed words with
Yeah,
dice roll
but
and I have passphrase.
yeah, but okay, wait. Wouldn't it be safer to like let this blow over for like a week? Like it can't be that harmful to just something
I've
else that
already
you
moved.
trust.
Yeah, I've already moved to something not new, but it was still generated from Coldcard, dice roll, and simply
All right, well,
passphrase.
good luck.
You're saying even
Yeah,
that's not safe?
God,
no,
just
I'm with Astro. Like fuck their hardware. I want to give it a month and let the people who know, who
I
are
see.
technical and that we trust.
I would just literally.
No, no, keep it on there. It's a good experiment, so we can find out. We got to find out.
No, I see what
Something.
you're
What is
saying.
wrong with you? Something wrong with you?
Tao, please
Really?
keep it on there. We
All
need to
right.
find
Well,
out.
in
We
Tao's defense, the cold card hardware, it's air gapped. It's not a seed phrase generated from dice rolls on the cold card. It's not bleeding.
They just give you a seed that's not from the full search space.
So
Yeah,
everything
except
that's
my only
been
argument there, Victor, would be we didn't think it's one line of code.
everything
This
that's been
problem existed
revealed and
3 days ago.
documented and spoke upon,
The
you
thing
guys are
the
saying
thing is
everything
air
that's been
gapped,
already
and
out
the
is
dice
not trustworthy at
seed
all.
is independently verifiable. There's no
All right,
connection.
keep it on there. Good luck.
I mean,
I'm not
again,
the only one, okay? So you guys don't have to mock me, okay? I'm not the only one. There's so
Can
many
I
other
ask
people are
everybody
doing the same thing.
a question?
Dímelo.
All right, is this? I don't know how everyone's been in here at least a few years. Some like 10 or 11, right? Is this the first time you've ever felt rattled in the Bitcoin sphere?
No, I felt rattled when Bybit got hacked. I felt more rattled when Bybit got hacked for $3 billion because that's like a fucking that's security at the level of like these ETFs almost. You know what I mean? Like that rattled me. That rattled me
Nothing
for
for those
What
that
about
have
you,
been around. Nothing was even remotely close to the fork wars. It's not even close. If you lived through that in 2017, that legitimately was nerve wracking because people were
I
like, "What's that?"
I just got into it like a couple months before that. So to be honest with you, I didn't even really understand what was going on. So it wasn't rattling to me at the time. You know what I mean? I
Well,
would have been if I.
if you had a decent amount of your wealth in Bitcoin, and you had people saying, "Well, this Bitcoin's going to be the true Bitcoin, and this Bitcoin's not, and they're both launching on exchanges," and people are saying, "Dump this coin for that coin, or vice versa. Do I screw something up?" That was problematic.
So
Everything since
Joe,
then, yeah.
what was wrong with just sitting back and letting it play out? That's how I handled it, and that worked out in the end. But was I
Be,
taking on risk?
no, well, the risk at the time was that the fracturing the civil war in Bitcoin meant that neither one would win. That you just have a perpetual issue with both, and that was my concern. Like,
Like a Somalia.
what's that?
like some sort of Somalia coin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, or Ethereum. I mean, at the time, you got to remember, 2017, Ethereum was going berserk. It was insane. The ROI on Ethereum was crushing Bitcoin.
I remember the ICO craze. That's when I was around. That's when I was
There was legitimate issues about like people saying, "Well, Bitcoin's old Dino coin. It's going to zero. Why are you buying it? It's antiquated. They can't even get their block space argument figured out. It's done."
So
Yeah, but like no one smart said that though. That was just chodes. Like that was trust me. Like the people that said that are not like they're still in their parents' basement right now. Like
I'm with
trying
Joe.
to.
I that's the reason I didn't get into Bitcoin. Like that's when I first noticed Bitcoin was during the block size wars, and yeah, I would have been
Me
great if I
too.
would have got in there, but I didn't know what the fuck to buy. I didn't know if it was Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin.
I mean, Bitcoin Cash. Everybody always kind of knew Bitcoin Cash was bullshit. Like I can't even. Like I was talking, the people that own Bitcoin Cash don't even know what it
It
does. I was talking
traded
to one
at
of my.
$8,000 for a day on Coinbase. 8 grand in
It,
2017.
that was a glitch though, right?
No, it wasn't a glitch. People executed the transaction. It was 8 grand.
What is it at now? 300 or 100 or? Yeah. God, it is loud here. I got trains going by me. It is when you live in
Well,
the city.
focus
It's
on the lady friend. Don't worry about this. Just get
no
off
the
Twitter.
lady. No. I have more important people to deal with than women right now.
You guys
I
a
have an
fucking lady friend when you got to worry about Bitcoin and your ex pals, buddy.
yeah. I have connections
Spaces,
that you
spaces.
would yeah. No, I have people that to hang out with that are much more important than any woman in the entire world, except maybe like Oprah. But they're more important than Kim Kardashian. I'll tell you that much. But yeah,
I,
um,
I get a whole lot of women. I'll tell you that much, right?
yeah. Like it's
I just have to swat them off. Like I am just.
no, it really is, Astrid. I'm
Oh
not
my
even
god.
kidding you. The last Friday night, I had two girls over my apartment at like 1
You have
a.m. And I was just thinking to myself, God, what the hell did I get myself into? This was so stupid. I want to go to sleep. Like this is not like I'm not going to go into any more details. But when you get to my point, you just it's just not worth it anymore. Like.
Well, what country,
Evan,
Evan?
you think Oprah is the most important woman in the world?
I think that's the only self-made female billionaire, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Totally,
What about
totally
Rihanna?
wrong. Yeah, that's totally wrong.
Well, Rihanna, okay, yeah, I mean that's pop culture, that's music.
Well, she
I would
actually
say,
made her billions off of her product line for BCH.
yeah, I don't know. I think Oprah's smarter than Rihanna, though.
I-
I don't know.
Is Bezos' wife not a self-made billionaire?
What about Alice Walton?
No,
What about Alice Walton? What are you talking
I don't
about?
even know who that is.
The
Who's Alice
Walmart?
Walton?
Walmart,
What are you high?
Walmart,
His wife?
Walmart.
The guy's wife?
His wife, the guy's wife. No, not the guy's wife. Do you know who Alice Walton is? Any clue? She's the
Sam
daughter. She's
Walton,
the
I thought.
daughter.
Okay,
When yeah, he had children. Okay, children.
okay.
I don't
He
know.
You know how
inherited
you
his
have
money.
I
children?
don't know.
You get a lady friend and you settle down, Evan, and you buy her a drink and talk to her and have discussions with people in real life.
Evan,
Yeah,
Why the fuck
but
would
that's
someone?
his daughter, though. She's not
Why would
self-made,
someone
though.
want to settle down? What's wrong with you? You never want to settle down, Evan. That shit's for
yeah.
boring people.
Evan,
Yeah,
how
no,
old are you again?
Just think, you gotta go
I'm
drink.
only 24, guys. I'm only 24.
Bro,
Gotta drink and
you
party.
were 15 when Bitcoin Cash was
No, I'm not
happening.
actually
You'd be
24. I'm 29.
Told me just to go out to the bars and bang random chicks and just get fucked up every
No,
night.
yeah, sure. That's what it was last. Okay, this is. I don't know if I should be saying this. My friend invited me to go to the bars last, I think Saturday or Friday night, and he met these two girls, and the girls were not interested in him. They were interested in me, and he got frustrated and annoyed and left. And the girls went back to my apartment with me, and they were like, kind of like fighting over me. And I was just getting irritated, and I wanted them to leave. It wasn't. It was not an ideal situation. Believe me. Like
Hey,
when I was 19 years old, it would have been a lot of fun, but at this point, I was just annoyed.
Evan, is because you told him how much Bitcoin you have?
No, it was.
Boo hoo!
I think it
Girls
was.
are fighting
They had
over
no
me.
clue who I was or anything. They had no idea.
I
But
think
then,
you've lied about your age twice.
well, yeah, but I just like to mess with people. But I don't think they asked me how old I was. I don't think.
Did you
um,
just tell him you give him the BIP 110?
Yeah. No, I don't. One of them was kind of an influencer. Yeah, one of them was. Oh, my alarm's going off. I got to get my burgers out of the air fryer.
Can I make a comment about the rattled part you asked earlier, Asteroid, about like, or maybe it was Shepard, about are the Bitcoiners feeling rattled right now? Joe, you
Yeah.
said something about 2017 when ETH's ROI was crushing Bit. You're 100% right. It was talked about a lot. I knew people that were hopping on the ETH train saying the same thing about Bit. And then, of course, from 2017 on, Bit hit all-time highs, kept going up. From my lens of watching all the things that have transpired up until today, I would feel that so much of that rise of Bitcoin got to exactly the pinnacle that a lot of people were talking about from 2017 when ETH came into the conversation on the large scale. It was all about Coinbase and these ETFs and these exchanges. And guys like Saylor were a big part of buying it. What I'm trying to figure out right now, when I hear people who own Bit right now, I don't, but people who do say, this is just another one of those things because we have such a history of these kind of things happening. I can agree, but I don't see where the growth of any of it's coming from. And I also think that things like ETH falling apart are bad for everything. And I don't see, and then,
What do you mean falling?
well, the pricing of all this stuff. And then you've got Saylor has openly sold Bitcoin. And one of the biggest parts of the community from the early runnings was the hold forever. So, I mean, these are just these massive narrative switches. And right now, the price does seem to be far away from its all-time highs when the pinnacle of the coin exchanges. And I see some people putting out videos this afternoon talking about put it in Coinbase, get out of the cold wallet, talking about it's just crazy. So anyway, I don't see how people aren't a little rattled.
Who is this?
Jay Billy.
Jay Billy. I mean, it's all this pretty normal stuff.
I'm not really sure.
Pretty normal stuff.
Yeah, I would have to say most of the stuff is pretty normal.
The hacking of the cold wallets, is that just
no? That's
no,
not
yeah.
normal,
All
but
the other stuff
is
you
normal.
just mentioned is just kind of par
This
for
stuff.
the
This is
course
not
at
normal.
this point. And like price is price. Like it's a volatile asset. It goes through big macro cycles. Like
PG, 100%,
big narrative.
100%. I'm saying that all is, but then I guess the people who are self-storing, they get hit. I mean, that's something new, right? The self-custody guys. I mean, aren't they the maxis?
I'm not really sure what you mean they get hit. So many people had that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like playing off what Fred said earlier. Like this is somewhat of a like.
It was 600 people out of like. It was 600 people out of like 10 million or something. It's not.
Yeah, it's a small percentage in a freak instance. Honestly, I mean, I know the size was low too, so not a huge.
It's scary. I mean, it's scary.
Not a huge like notional impact on Bitcoin, but I will say, like, am I the only one that's still pretty bullish about the fact that like we had a cold wallet hack and Bitcoin only moved like 3%?
It actually went up. It went up yesterday, and then it crashed with the rest of the market. So this weakness isn't even because of the.
I mean, the best thing is that honestly, it happened during the bear market here at the bottom, So then happening.
The thing is, here's the thing. It's not okay. This seems like it's a big deal on Twitter, and it is scary. I don't expect it to really have any impact on price.
I think it's good overall. It's a good wake up call for everyone to like manage your keys.
But there's a bigger takeaway though than just Bitcoin. What's all that noise?
Here, yeah, that's not me. PG.
Was that me? Sorry.
Asteroid.
I think that, to be honest with you, I think the bigger takeaway is this is like the. I don't think what people are really understanding is this is the first sort of attack that we've had that is that people are seeing that's hurting people with an LLM. And I was like, this is going to be something that occurs a lot more. And it's not even really just Bitcoin. It's like, it could really be anything. I think that's the real story.
I
The
agree,
effects.
Asteroid, and I've talked a little bit on my content about being around like wealthy boomers who have recently bought Bitcoin through the ETFs when that happened back in January, February. This is just another, like you said, a narrative thing that is similar to what it has been in the past, but it's like Bitcoin just can't get out of its own way, I guess, to get mass adoption.
But this isn't getting in its way, though. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
and this
for
is
like.
Oh,
also
it
like
is. It is getting in its way of dudes that own Bitto and stuff on Coinbase and stuff. It is. I know them. I'm in my little circle, but I'm there. It is getting in the way.
But to me, that if you buy that done in one of those routes, you don't really have to worry about this.
Well, yes, but then it starts to become this sort of less diversified thing. If it's just, it just.
You mean less decentralized in a way, and kind of, but
What
Yeah.
is?
Yeah, I agree with
Listen,
that.
to have this conversation, you have to start with what is the goal. What is the goal for Bitcoin? Because there are people that radically diverge as to what the goal is. Is the goal to use Bitcoin every day as a medium of exchange? If that's the goal, it's like a fantasy. I think that's a fantasy, personally. That's just me. But people believe that, and that's wildly different than the people who says nope, it's a store of value, it's digital gold, it can sit in a box, and as long as you don't lose it, you're good. And you have to be honest about that because to me, I think like if you're trying to pursue something and people say mass adoption, is everybody holding an exposure to the ETF mass adoption? Is that mass adoption?
Joe,
Kind of. If
mass
they have enough,
institutional adoption, yeah, for sure.
well,
No, I'm not an
the mass
institutional
adoption
adoption.
is,
Let's just say every man, woman, and child has an exposure in their
to me,
retirement to the ETF.
Yeah, it's still
if we're
adoption.
here's the
Yeah,
thing. Well, if we're gonna be using it as a medium of exchange and all this shit, it's gonna have to go way higher, and that's gonna be
Why
people
do I
putting it in their
want to use it
retirement
as a
accounts and
medium of
stuff.
exchange? I don't really care about medium
I
of
do.
exchange. I think it's irrelevant.
In 30 years, you don't.
I mean, you
Who
have the
cares?
option that you can use that as a medium of exchange. You
Listen.
can do that.
Let's just say Bitcoin.
When it goes to 30, when it goes to
Let's just
millions
say
of dollars, I would actually
let's
prefer
just
just
say
to use it.
Bitcoin never existed. Let's just pretend Bitcoin never existed. Okay, what's more important to Joe and Asteroid? The fact that you have millions of dollars in a retirement account that's exposed to American equities, or the paper cash in your wallet? What's more important? It's easily the ETFs that have all the money in people's retirement accounts. The cash in your bank account or cash in your dollar wallet is irrelevant. The fact that I go and buy cups of coffee with shitty dollars, it means nothing. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is my retirement savings that I want to have for my nest egg in equities that are safe, secure, and highly regulated. That's what actually matters.
well, wait. What happens if you could spend your assets, Joe? Because the only reason
What's that?
I don't want to speak for you, but the only reason I hold assets, right, is to keep up with inflation because those are real goods.
Yeah, but
Correct.
Shepard, that's what he's saying. He's saying
That's what
that
I'm
what are
saying.
you keeping it in is what you're keeping it in. If it's going to be in Coinbase, fine, then let's call it what it is. It's not decentralized. It's not what it used to be. And that to what you're saying, Shepard, I understand like you want to spend them, but then it becomes in the category of all these other things to invest in. When it used to be its own category and it's not as cool as it used to be.
Yeah,
I think the ship's already sailed of it being in the same category as all these other things. Like that, to me, that had the advent of having ETFs is it's another asset class that you can invest in the broader market.
Yeah, I think the only reason I think it's a fallacy is because of the current tax code. If that was fixed and a few other things would fix, I think you'd get bigger adoption. But like till some of those ramifications are fixed.
Yeah, but they don't want it to be peer-to-peer cash. That's the thing. They're going to push it away from that actively.
What is your definition of adoption? That's again, I'll ask the question. When you say greater adoption, what does that mean?
My definition of adoption is actually physically using the technology. That's my definition of adoption.
Fair, but then the price
Physically,
isn't
but
necessarily going to go up.
physically using the technology can be somebody just putting Bitcoin
To,
in an
to,
ETF. Why is that not using the tech?
transacting across the network. That's physical adoption.
But why is that important? Is my question. Why does that matter?
That is important because I want the fees for the network.
You want fees
Maybe,
for the
maybe,
network.
well, it's
What
just
do you care about fees for the network? I don't care about Visa fees. It's
so
irrelevant to me.
so. So when the budget runs out, okay, well, what's the game plan for Bitcoin? Or are we just assuming we'll be dead and we don't care, or it'll be
Yeah,
an
Joe, he's talking about the
idea?
security budget
I'm
issue
aware of the
after.
security budget issue, but the security budget issue can be easily mitigated if you get, 6 billion people onto Bitcoin through holding it in investment structures, because those people have to move their Bitcoin. Okay, like
Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't, just because it's not for a cup of coffee. If every government, if every company, if every institution, if every individual had Bitcoin, there will necessarily be transactions. It doesn't mean it has to be a day-to-day, friction transaction for a cup of coffee. That's
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
totally different.
but Joe, also, people wanting to transact in Bitcoin, I can want to transact in Bitcoin. That doesn't mean I want to use it daily for my coffee expenditures. Like that, there's a fine line between using it as like a cash replacement, or sorry, not a fine line. There's a huge amount of space between using it as a cash replacement for daily spending versus just wanting to transact in it. Period. Like
So
I
let,
want to
let me let
send
me
my
give you a
friend
scenario.
money, and I don't want to use Zelle.
Let's
Like,
say I could buy coffee with my Robinhood account with my SPY position. Would I ever fricking do that?
no,
Why would I
no,
do that? What's the
no.
point of, like, I have a bunch of shares of SPY. So I want to roll up to the Starbucks and say that'll be 0.0004 SPY. Please, send me that to me.
so if it's
It's
frictionless
stupid.
and there's no tax implications, why wouldn't you do it? Like, why would you ever hold a asset that is currently debasing? Like, if I could have something in a real asset and just like transaction against that real asset and never have that the other asset that's being debased, I take the opposite approach. I don't know why you would have a debasing structure.
Right, like why have the drag of, at some point, why have the drag of cash? But then again, I mean, like, Bitcoin doesn't go up in a straight line all the time. So
Yeah, and I agree, but the same thing I guess you could say with cash, right? Like it doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. But that's my only argument, Joe, is if it was frictionless, if it was easy, if we change the tax structure, I don't know why you'd want to go through or why would you want to do the hassle of assets versus the dollar? I don't understand.
What's your question? Could you please rephrase it slightly differently? I don't
Y-
understand what you're saying.
Yes, so if there was no tax implications, if it was frictionless, why would you want to consistently change between real assets and the dollar?
I wouldn't want to consistently change between real assets and the dollar. I would use my dollar for my day-to-day pocket change transactions, and I would use the rest of it for store of value purposes, which is basically what the vast majority of people do, right? They put the majority of their money in either fixed income investments, money market funds, ETFs, equity exposure, etc. That's what majority of people do, and in property, right? Not liquid property, right? Their day-to-day transactions, they keep a trivial amount of, relative to their overall holdings, of cash, and that's for liquidity purposes, for paying for, every day-to-day transactions, and that's that. But they're not stockpiling. I mean, unless they don't understand the debasement and inflation, they're not stockpiling giant amounts of cash unless it's in a money market, which they get interest on.
So if you had the friction taken away and the tax implications are fixed, why wouldn't you want to mainly hold Bitcoin and then just have other assets where you think you could have greater growth and do your Bitcoin as cash because then you can not go back and forth between the real assets and your dollar?
I mean, so to answer your question, I would want to have. I mean, I would want to have the majority of my money in Bitcoin. I would probably be Bitcoin only if there weren't tax implications. That's just me. I would probably be, and other investments, right? But the problem is, from a logistical standpoint of actually transacting with it, there's huge impediments and barriers. So it's just not worth the headache. It's impractical. So unless everybody had a very smooth, easy, frictionless way to transact in it, and yeah, maybe that would be a decision maker, but like that's not the world we have right today. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah, and I guess the reason I'm asking these leading questions is like, for instance, Cash App and what George or Square, what Dorsey's trying to do, I think is great. I think the tax implications really screwed up, and that's why nobody would do it. But I think
Look, you know
if
how
you can
much
make
money
certain
I
progress
get,
scenarios.
Shepard? Do you know how much money I get from my Costco credit card from using the points and rewards? I get like 4% on gas at Costco by using it. Why would I use Bitcoin for that? I'm going to just take a 4% hit. That would be a free reward for me every single time. I mean, it's thousands of dollars that I get for free. And by the way, if there's
Yeah,
if there's a fraudulent transaction, if something goes wrong, I can call them up and say, shut it down right now, block it. Who do I call up to
okay.
shut down the Bitcoin transaction?
So I'm akin to a debit card in this scenario, but if we're going to surmise the credit card, like I think
Why
you could
wouldn't you
still
use the
have that
debit card
similar.
when you can get free points?
I'm agreeing with you. I like the liability structures of a credit card, so I don't use a debit card, and I like the rewards. But let's say your argument, you just use a credit card and you pay it off in Bitcoin as you would your bank account right now, right?
100%. I would do that every month, and
Yeah.
I get paid in Bitcoin. I don't have any problem with that. I use a medium exchange that's like something dollar based. It's just easier, and I would pay it off and get the rewards.
Yeah, so to answer, go looping back around to the problem statement or the question you asked, for me, what is adoption is this idea of how do we keep the network flowing? And I'll surmise to you, if it is, we want it as a store of value and the transactions are still going across the network and it gets rid of the budget problem. Like to me, that's adoption. Adoption for me is just the network usage and how heavily are we utilizing it.
All right, that's enough. That's enough.
I think there may. All right, guys, listen. This is a good discussion. I think there may be a point to be made here about real quick, Ashford. So what Joe was
This
saying.
is like a Jamie Miner type of thing that Devin's doing right now. This is really good, guys.
Oh yeah. That yeah.
Let's keep this going. This is good. This is good.
No, but it actually is. But maybe I should use different wording.
By the way, we're up to 1,100 Bitcoin that have been stolen now. That's great.
Holy
That
fuck.
sucks. Yeah. Tal, you better watch out, man. But keep your. I want to know. I want to know the outcome of this. So please keep your Bitcoin on it. I want to know the out. This is. It's fuck around and find out with this. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. So I want to know what happens here. But no, I think there's going to be some type of version where, some system. Oh wait, there's so much noise right now. Dog barking outside my door. But there's going to be some type of system where you can kind of like pay with Bitcoin and still get rewards and stuff. You know what I mean? It may be like that, like with Lightning wallets and such.
In
And
30
you gotta
years,
like,
everyone's going to be paying with Bitcoin.
Wait,
yeah, I don't
why would
know.
there be a reward system? Why would that exist? You understand how credit card rewards exist, right? They exist because they're reliant on a business model that it banks itself on Tao not paying his credit card bill and them getting the interest from that, and they pay the people that have the liquidity to actually pay it every
There's
month.
also merchant fees though. There's merchant fees
That
as well
that
though.
too. There's merchant fees as well. So like you have multiple revenue streams that they subsidize the rewards model to push credit cards on people. So they rely on Tao not paying his bill, and they rely on the merchants subsidizing it through fees. That's how they can pay rewards.
Yeah, but I think there may be because the merchant fee is like 2 or 3%. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
So they may use that to do rewards, and it could be even better. Um,
So
do
they're
you?
going to be a merchant fee for paying in Bitcoin? Why the heck?
Yeah,
Why would anybody do that?
I don't know,
Guys, you guys are really
but
overthinking this.
yeah,
You could look at the blockchain, and the number one use case for Bitcoin L1 right now is the Runes protocol. It's going to be meme coins and ordinals and DeFi. That's going to be the number one use case on chain. There's no reason to use it outside of that right now because the government decentivized you from using Bitcoin as peer-to-peer cash. So it's all going to be in on-chain markets like we see on Ethereum and Solana. That's what's happening right now, and that's what the blockchain is telling us.
You're saying that the number one use for Bitcoin is going to be buying
I'm
runes and
saying the number
ordinals and
one use
stuff?
case right now is over 60% of transactions from Bitcoin L1 today are coming from the Runes protocol. And that's just going to expand. It's going to be more adoption of that
what?
and
Wait.
DeFi. And the second
No,
DeFi.
layers,
just no.
that's
The most
exactly
number
what's going
one
to
use
happen.
case. No, the most number one use case is stored value. That's what people are doing right now.
Yes, but actual
That
transactions on chain are going to be coming from these meta protocols.
Wait, J-Dog, you're saying what percentage of all Bitcoin transactions are on Runes? What
Any
percentage?
given day, it's over 60, sometimes 80, it's over 50% a consistent basis.
All right, guys, Bitcoin's going to zero. It's all over, guys. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's
You
all
guys
over.
need
I'm
transaction fees
serious.
on chain. We need transaction fees on chain. This is what solves it, because they're not going to use Bitcoin as peer-to-peer cash, but this is like a way to Trojan horse it into peer-to-peer cash. So the transactions are going to come from these meta protocols.
All right, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it helps solve the security budget. I mean, this is the whole reason I'm involved, because I had to listen to Paul Storks and Henry. Joe, you remember Henry,
Oh,
and how
they're the
they,
worst. The
yeah.
worst.
And this is what solves it. That's why when ordinals came around, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God something solved this. The Satoshis, I mean, the sat per VBIT went to 100 sats per VBIT during the whole ordinals thing. And I was like, okay, this is what's going to solve the security budget. And that's why I got involved. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This is what's happening on every other chain. This is just what's going to happen, because they're not incentivizing people to use Bitcoin as peer-to-peer cash. The government is actively going to decentivize that. That's why we're not going to get tax breaks. But people on chain will use it.
It's actually crazy how low sats for VBIT right now, because I was using it to transfer off for the Coldcard stuff last night, and it's kind of crazy how low it is.
How come it's taking me an hour to confirm a transaction then?
How many stats are you using?
3.
Yeah, I was using 4 last night, and I was getting them done in 10 minutes.
Hey, Shepard, did you just move yourself to an exchange for now?
Yeah, I wasn't fucking around with anything else.
Is it still on there?
I just like let's get this shit off the Coldcard.
Is it still on there?
On my Coldcard or on the exchange?
Exchange.
Yeah, it's Coinbase ain't going down overnight. If it does, like GG.
What's your plan though? What's your plan like after this blows
Yikes.
over?
I have a Trezor, and I use Bitbox as well. It was 2 o'clock at night, and I was trying to do some test transactions, and I wasn't going to try to make sure I didn't screw up the address.
Just do some batches, like couple batches, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was doing last night. I was doing like a little test, and I did a batch, and then I did another batch. But I was doing that for about an hour last night while I was listening to Wicked.
I always do stuff in like couple batches. You know what I'm saying?
But the crazy thing was listening to them is the fact that what I was thinking is if you do too high of a sat for BBIT, I think it'd almost be a red herring. And then whoever's attacking would just see the red herring to try to get in there and just override you. Maybe
Yeah, but it takes like 10 minutes for their algorithm to work.
Yeah, well, I guess my point being is there's somebody who did like 100 sats per VBIT, where the average right now is 3, right?
Okay, well, this is boring. We're going to go over this British HODL tweet, which stirs up controversy. Okay, he tweets, I put this in the nest. No serious person will self-custody after this. I just got kicked out of spaces by the Bitcoiners for trying to tell the truth. I have said, assign a percentage probability the dollar collapse over the next 10 years. Maintain a self-custody of that amount. Hillbilly Bitcoin is cooked. The amount of Bitcoiner arrogance I'm hearing in spacing is trying to tell normal people that followed all the Bitcoiner rules to just roll your dice. Where did these people get this level of arrogance? This is real parents, real family, real people who have lost their life savings listening to the Bitcoiners talk shit about IBIT and recommend Coldcard, the most recommended highbrow Bitcoiner wallet. And now they just say, roll the dice. Sorry, life savings are gone.
I mean, I don't take him as a serious character after recommending MSTR and Misty, so I don't really take his comment with a lot of credence.
So you're not believing British HODL is a serious character?
No, I do not. I like the guy, but I do not take him as a serious character.
Who are the serious?
I mean, obviously, like everything British does on X is taken with a bit of hyperbole, right? Like that's kind of him. But if you factor that in, like I actually kind of fuck with his point. I don't know. Like it
depends.
I guess it's
no.
depends on how
Satoshi's bride was trying
libertarian
to
you
talk,
want to be
PJ.
with.
Hang on a second.
Well, he wasn't finished, but
Whoa.
he wasn't finished.
Yeah,
he wasn't finished.
But go ahead.
Okay, well, I say that it depends on your portfolio. If you have a portfolio like British HODL, then maybe you'll follow British HODL and listen to British HODL. If your portfolio is not like British HODL, then you won't. But him saying the Bitcoiners, who's the Bitcoiners?
I think.
Where's the company
Well,
headquarters?
he's making fun of the people on the space, which was most likely, I'm guessing, Bitcoin today. You know, the people that are often a concentrated cohort of talking about cold
It was the
wallets,
veterans,
hardware
Bitcoin,
wallets.
whatever.
Oh, it was
The
the veteran
veterans
Yeah.
mean
space? Oh, okay.
the veterans mean well. I mean, why what the veterans talking about self custody got this individual angry? I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, the point is self custody. Period. I guess. But I kind of feel like that guy has different interests. Like he has different kind of portfolio. You look, real estate equities. He's a different kind of person. So
Yes, indeed.
I don't know. What do you think about his tweet, Joe?
I think I do agree with your commentary about him being hyperbolic. That's British by nature. I've known him for years. He's a friend. I do think self custody is harder as a narrative today. I think that more people will be relying, and it's already the dominant thing. It's like this isn't new. More people will be relying on, custody structures. I think that's the trend. The trend is your friend. It will continue. I expect most folks that do not rely on self custody right now to not change their minds. And the new entrants in the marketplace, they will be dissuaded from relying on any hardware wallets because of these issues. So I expect this to be an accelerant for custody solutions.
Yeah, I mean, a quick thing on the self custody thing with the one of the barriers for a lot of people is the risk of there being a much higher risk of a pilot error, right? Like user error, you fuck up, you forget your phrase, maybe you tried to scramble it yourself so you don't have it written down somewhere, and you kind of anagrammed it, or you encoded it in some way in the way that you wrote it down somewhere, and the goes on and on. The fact of the matter is, like, my parents, like, and I know there are a lot of people like this, they don't necessarily have to be above the age of 70 either, but like I'll talk to my parents, and they'll be like, technology, like they'll complain about like quote unquote technology as if this like monolithic term, and then they'll continue to complain about like, I gotta have a password for this and a password for this, and they're complaining about like remembering all their passwords, and I'm like, that's not technology. That's just like a memory problem, like a organizational problem. It has nothing to do with the technology, and it's kind of goes the same for how secure you can lock down a wallet. It's just going to be how methodical and can you think it through before you do it, and I think a lot of people aren't really cut out for that. It's just, for the most part, like most normal people, like I know a lot of people that don't even use like a password manager. Like I don't know. I just think it's I don't see it breaking out from being kind of a niche, small portion of Bitcoin being adopted of people, not moving towards ETFs and exchanges, at least, and stuff like that.
You guys want to know where self custody will be most adopted?
where?
With the meme coins, the ordinals, and the DeFi, where people actually have to use self custody to use these tools.
And guess who is going to earn from the people who can't do that? Us as well. Like from British Hodl's post, it's just that's the reality of the world, and that creates an opportunity where people don't want to take risks. There are other people who want to create systems so that they don't have to, and then they have to choose whether to trust me and dog.
Yeah, it's different. It's different demographics
dog?
that's hitting the younger generation. I say like the under 35 crowd are going to go to the ordinals, runes, and DeFi, and be more native on chain, while the older crowd is going to shift to like IBIT, and that's kind of what we've seen happen since the ETFs launched. all the Bitcoiners that I knew, the older ones, they started going into IBIT, and I went the other direction. I went to the ordinals and runes, everything on chain.
Hey, dog, isn't that statistic, you know, kind of self-fulfilling and potentially misleading that like the majority of transactions
What's
are
misleading about it?
like well, they're traded. So like, of course there's going to be tons of transactions. They're traded. Like if I send my
Yes, the number
friend
one
money,
use case across
we're
every
not going to be
blockchain.
sending it back and forth like 50 times
Well,
in an
yeah, you're
hour.
trading different assets. You're not just trading Bitcoin. You trade the Bitcoin, the sats move across the blockchain, but on top of that is the arbitrary data that people value. Other people might not value it. Other people call it spam, but to us, it has value and it's tradable. Yes, it is tradable. That you're correct, but that's not misleading in any way.
The future.
Well, is it the majority of transactions? Like as far as like if there were 1,000 transactions in the last hour, it would be 60% of those, or is it by volume, like monetary value of the transactions?
No,
But monetary value doesn't matter here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the amount of transactions.
It's volume
The
that
fee,
matters.
the fees is what it's like tracking.
In the future, honestly, the monetary value will probably be way higher for people moving it from custodian to custodian or from this to that. But that's not going to generate that much fee. What's going to generate the fee is all this other like shit.
Because most of the ETFs and even
important.
the exchanges have their off-chain like indexers where they're not trading the Bitcoin back and forth. It's like they're
going to move it like once a month to like some other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they batch
True.
it.
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing
So
one sat for rebyte because no one's actually using on chain.
in the future, like it's what I don't get about all. That's what I don't understand about a lot of this pro Bit 110 stuff. I'm like, it's a lot, most of it's going to start slowly going to Lightning and ETFs. Like you should be trying to encourage more activity. I don't get it at all. I really don't understand it.
Well, the interesting thing about that is when ordinals launched in these different meta protocols, it pushed people to actually go on to Lightning because the sats started to go extremely high. So it's like, oh, we actually got to build this. We actually stress test Lightning because we broke a lot of people. Well, it closed a lot of people's channels and they had to adapt, which is good. It stretch test the network and then it helped people build off chain these second layers. But the problem is now there's not enough volume on chain because they built out these second layers much faster. But I guess my point is that we're going to see adoption happen through these meta protocols on Bitcoin because there's already market demand for these across all blockchains. It's just Bitcoin hasn't had this bull run of the fungible tokens. It already had a kind of a run with the ordinals, but that obviously got tampered down. But when we go back into a bull market, Bitcoin goes all towards all-time highs, and we're going to see more adoption happen through these meta protocols. And that's why I buy dog.
What storm are we in the eye of? Asteroid.
The eye of the storm that's going on right now with this quote unquote MK3 Coldcard hack. It's currently draining coins right as we speak on this space. People are losing their life savings.
Well, yeah. There's a website that's interesting. It's tracking it in real time, all the coins that are being lost. I'm gonna put it right here in the nest.
Or is the number climbing
Oh yeah.
just purely due to like people like still are logging in and checking to see if their wallet is there, and then they're finding out
So
that it's been drained?
click on this. This is a pretty handy dandy website. So in the nest here, I posted coldcard-watch.verkle.app, whatever that means. Click on it. It's 1082.
Oh my god! I clicked on it and my wallet's been drained.
Yeah. Well,
It's
that's not
pronounced
funny.
Versal.
It's not funny. Not funny.
Wow, that's wonderful. Excellent.
It was kind of funny.
It's beautiful.
No, well, we were just talking earlier about how you mentioned with Phantom, people click the wrong link and shit happens.
Well, then that's the education. Well, it's sad. It's sad, but this is the game we're playing in. And if people want to waste their life, it's sad. It's just sad. It's sad.
Has anybody checked, just to relate some stories here, has anybody checked if MSTR uses cold cards?
Coinbase.
I thought they'd entirely used Coinbase.
That was a joke. Sorry, really bad. My bad.
I got it, Joe.
I apologize.
Hey,
It does seem like
for
it really.
context, that link, it's a Vercel. They do a lot of stuff in hosting. This is what people usually use as a quick domain to put a site or application up.
See, Joe, I told you it's pronounced Vercel.
Yeah,
It's like railway.
Jim Cramer says CoinKite's going to rebound in a big way.
It's doomed.
It does really look like the theft has really jumped today versus yesterday. It's crazy.
Hal, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How's your life?
How's my what?
Life?
Life?
Contentment? Happiness?
It's great. It's just, you know, it's been interesting. I've been going on vacations a lot, so if you follow me, you know, you'll see I've been just traveling, you know, all over California recently. Yeah, but busy as usual.
Yay.
But this whole situation is really getting everybody to rethink so many things. In fact, I have a friend who, well, you know, he's everybody's friend on Twitter, right? But he's like, I'm not sure it's true. He said he lost all of his Bitcoin. This guy's a Bitcoiner. So I'm trying to verify, because he's going to start a thread. And if he really lost everything, I would be super shocked. Hopefully he's just kidding.
A little too soon.
Right. I think he's just kidding, but this is stupid. People should not be joking at this time, to tell you the truth, right? Because everybody's taking things seriously, and whether you're joking or not, you don't want to make your friend feel like, oh, you actually lost something when you actually didn't. Because there are people who actually lost their thing, and you feel bad for them, right? It's not a time to be playing with people's feelings or thoughts or whatever, right? Speak the truth, whatever it is, your way, and don't be like, you know, playing with people's emotions, right? It does get, you know, a little serious. You know, have empathy, understand what people are going through, processing their emotions and situation. You don't know what their, you know, what their life situation is. So the best we can do is being, you know, as reassuring and as sort of like, you know, caring and suggestive.
Can I rug the room?
But just be, you know, allow people to have their freedom as well. Yeah.
You're good, Asteroid. We can hear you.
Hopefully, like, gosh, I mean, it's not the time to.
Can you hear us, Asteroid? Shepard, you might have lost him.
Hello, this is Asteroid Radio.
We are here in the eye of the storm. Millions have been lost from the cold store drainage. And now Asteroid might be lost as well. Asteroid, are you there? You there, Asteroid?
He's in the forest riding his bike in the forest, his BMX.
I agree with you, Tal, about having kindness. I guess, I mean, some people have lost it all before. So I think it's a good time to appreciate what you have. You know, you lost all your Bitcoin, but what do you have around you? Do you have someone that loves you? Do you still have your brain? Do you still have the knowledge? Now, do you have a hard lesson? And what can you do? Like, do you have 10, 20, 30 years to go? Yes, probably. So build yourself back up and do it again.
It is a very hard thing. I mean, easy said than done, but it's doable, like you said. It is doable. It's going to take some time and things like that. If, you know, it happens, right? But there are people who are. I was on a Swan Spaces this morning, helping some people with their, you know, transfer and everything, and you know, there was a lady came up. She was crying, dude. That's how bad it was. I don't know if you guys were there this morning, but it was really sad. It was so. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then there's all these tweets about someone losing their life savings and stuff. That is just freaking devastating, man. I don't even know how to feel. I mean, I don't even know the person still. You know, you can't
Sad,
help
man.
but feel so. You know what I mean?
You could
so
figure
sad.
yourself in that position and be like, damn, like all that time, and because at the end of the day, this is time and energy that you're putting in to feel like you're secure, that this is the gold standard, and
to have something happen like this is devastating for them and their family, you know. And who knows what position they're in, how old they are, and all these different situations. That this is from like a lot of the people, I guess, from that had the MK3 is like from 2021 to 2024 or until now, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard now, especially at the price. Hard to get back in the game. You could say like, oh, pick yourself up, but some people might not have that time.
I don't think it's a time thing. It's more of a courage thing, and it's more of a focus thing. I mean, unless
I mean, this is where they say time is money, and Bitcoin price is $60,000.
Yeah, what do you mean time? Yeah, what if someone lost money that they spent 40 years working for? You know,
Yeah, well,
they might not live another 40 years. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean any ill will by the comment I made earlier, joking about the link Joe
No, it's
posted.
fine.
You
Yeah, I
know,
get it.
I didn't mean it like that. Like because that's not what the nature of
No,
this
not you,
attack
Fuji.
was. It wasn't like a phishing attack where people clicked a link. Like it was wasn't that type of thing. So I wasn't even honestly making the connection there.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't referring to you at all, PG. It was just in generally like how I'm thinking about the whole situation and processing everything that's been happening. It's just crazy.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Can you hear this? Can you hear this, Asteroid? Oh well, now nobody's playing. Damn it.
Hey, I'm gonna go try out Yamaha pianos in 2 weeks.
I have one. Yamaha's the best. It's awesome.
The only issue is I gotta see what my big tax bill is this year. And if it's lower than I think I'm gonna pick up a piano. It's a lot. They're always a lot. I never pay enough.
If it's lower than you think, but Asteroid, don't you run your own business?
I did.
Oh wait, no, but you're not. Your business isn't music. I'm stupid. I was like, why can't you write it off?
I did. I had a lot of 1099 income last year. Yeah, I did, but I also had a lot of capital gains that I didn't really account for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also,
I don't think you can necessarily write off a piano though for your tech business,
no.
unless you maybe make a case for it being like client services when your client comes over for a meeting and you play them a sweet serenade.
I like Yamaha pianos and they're cheap. You know what I'm saying? I think they're nice.
Yeah,
I like them.
yeah. I wouldn't be rushing to buy a brand new piano. I would exhaust going and playing old like pianos from the 60s and stuff.
Why do you say that?
They're built better. They're broken in. Also, like a new piano kind of like sounds like a new piano in not always the most desirable way. Like they can sound like very like synthetic and like not. I don't know. They're just very like rigid and like
You know what the problem
pianos
is?
that have been
You know what
played a bit have a bit of a softer kind of musical broken in feel to them.
you know what the problem with this whole industry is?
No.
It's kind of a dying thing. You realize that?
Like mechanical acoustic pianos.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, maybe you probably could have made that argument for like the last 15 years or
Yeah,
something like
it
that.
keeps shrinking. It's been shrinking every
Yeah.
year. But here's the problem. You go to these used stores and they have all those used pianos. They still really fucking try to talk up the price, even though like no one's buying them. That's what I find annoying. I'm like, can I just get a good deal on this?
Yeah.
It's just
Piano salesmen, you also got to understand piano salesmen are like used car salesmen. They're like always trying to talk you up on shit. And like
So I found
because their number one clientele for any piano dealer is tiger moms and like parents buying their kid a piano
So I
for
found,
practice.
yeah. So after dealing with all those people and all these, they're like flooded with pianos. They have too many. Nobody's buying them, but they still really
They still really aren't willing to give you a deal. I just almost would rather just buy a brand new one. You know what I mean? It's like the same price.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
if I could get a good
I don't know
deal,
what the market's like out there in Chicago.
it's not good. One guy even told me he's
All
like
right.
this shit's dead.
What's up, guys?
Hey, is it going log?
Yeah, all good.
I'm gonna
Have
play some
you
ping
have you
pong.
ever I've got an electric piano, I've got a Korg, but I like a
I have a
SV2
Korg too.
that I love. It's like it's pretty.
Which one?
A Korg SV2. I can't remember what SV stands for.
I got a Korg too.
Yeah, it's super nice. It's like mine's the one that looks a little bit retro. It's got nice like wooden legs, so it's like I don't know, a lot of electric pianos can be good, but they're kind of like clunky and ugly.
I just don't like playing it as much as a natural piano.
Dude, I was like when I was at like a couple times when I bought mine, I tested another one, but I didn't buy it. But it's the Nord Grand. I think it's the number 2, like Nord Grand 2, and it just feels like a good classic acoustic piano. It's electric, but I think it's one of the better ones. If you've already got a good electric, it's pointless. But
I had one. I returned it.
Really, the Nord Grand.
It was like $5,000.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly.
I tried the Korg, and I'm like, you know what? It gets you like 90% there, and it was like 2,000.
Yep.
And I was like, to be honest with you, ultimately, I want to get a regular like grand piano. So I was like, fuck it, I don't really want this thing. To me, it feels like it's amazing, but it's like not worth that. That 10% better isn't really worth like the 3x cost. I just feel like it's a little bit of overpriced.
Yeah,
you know what
unless you're like if you're really really good pianist. I'm not.
I'm not. So it's like not really.
But I agree.
Like,
if you've got a house and you got room for a piano and you're more settled than I am, pianos are pretty.
It's just playing a grand is like it's not even the electric ones aren't even close. You know.
Yeah,
they're not. Like there's some. Like I like it, but it doesn't feel like magical in any way compared to like a nice grand or like you know what I mean, a real instrument. It's just I don't know.
There's a Greek guy. There's a Greek guy that's listening, and he just keeps laughing.
Actually, I think you're close to me, right?
Yeah, I'm downtown.
Just ignore him. He'll do that.
You grew up. I live like right by where you grew up.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I was talking to you. I was laughing that we might have been in math together. How's it going? You still up there in the suburbs?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah. I left for a while. I always come back. I left a few times and I always move back. And now I own a house with a bunch of shit, so probably not going to leave for a long time if I leave. You know.
Yeah.
I got lots of stuff in a house. I hate moving. I think did you move to New York City too from here?
No, I moved to Europe for a bit, and then I moved to DC. Was in DC for like
you were in
7
DC.
years.
You were in DC when we were talking about MSTR.
Yeah.
All those times.
Yeah.
That's right. You were working for a law firm in DC.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now.
Yeah. So
Now you're
been
back.
Chicago for just like a year, but dude, I rented an apartment here as sort of like an in between, and I've used it for like 5 months. Just been traveling between jobs, so. And now I'm looking at some other jobs, but it looks like I might end up going to Miami, which I'm conflicted about.
Wait, are you
ready for humidity? You ready to be inside from 12 to 4 every day because it's so hot, sweltering heat?
Are you in Miami? Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Like,
are you still an attorney?
I'm an attorney. I work for a firm. I'm in between now. I'm working on a kind of a crypto token project that keeps jumping up and down, but I got a friend in Brazil who founded a crypto sort of market maker, liquidity provider in like 2017. And the thing is like done very well since then. And so he had some ideas about like tokenizing gold and pulling a yield on it. And this was always this.
I think I talked to that guy.
Really? Like I'll talk to you later.
I talked to some.
See, like I don't want to like say everything on.
I don't even know if I remember his name, but I remember this yielding off gold that's tokenized in a vault.
Yeah, yeah. Like it sounded like crackpot ideas, right? Like, we were just like shooting the shit back and forth, and and he had me review a bunch of their documents and like just sending it back and forth, and it was kind of turning into something where it was like, wait a minute, like if nobody's actually doing this the way we're describing it, maybe there's something here. And he got in the door with Tether and had a meeting with them, and then they disappeared.
Oh
And it
my
was
god,
just
I think
like,
I know this guy.
okay, he's a Brazilian guy.
No, this is a man. I don't know. I remember talking to someone about this.
You might have
The
been
other,
talking to me about it. I've been like kind of
no,
thinking
I
about
talked to
this
him in
for a while.
person.
Okay.
Was that you?
No, I haven't met you in person.
Yeah, he was in with Tether, and I was like, "Well,
Okay.
how do I know my gold's there?" And he's like, "You can access it via like camera." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's weird."
Oh, that's interesting. But the Tether angle is interesting because Tether has, I can't remember the name of their token right now. Tether has a gold backed token.
And he said,
So we
"Yeah,
went from like, what's the point of launching our own token and trying to like go through all that legwork, when potentially like the idea that my friend and I were working on is to get an in-kind yield. So all right, gold backed token, tokenized
this is what
gold.
this guy said."
This is interesting. There might be. I
A
wouldn't be
copycat?
surprised if you talk to somebody that he knows, and he travels around to crypto conferences and stuff. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he was
Pseudo
at a crypto. Maybe one. Yeah.
was
So
it.
basically,
Was it in Singapore or something? I think he was out
no,
there
at
for a
Fred's
bit.
conference. So basically,
Okay,
he
okay,
was like, "Look, your gold's there. You can like have stable coins that back the gold, and like then you can actually use DeFi assets to trade, sell options or something on it." Like it was real weird. Was that this?
okay. No, this one's a little. This is a little different. Like the concept at its core is super simple. It's like we're gonna make a gold backed token and have the token represent like some weight of gold. So keep it easy. Call it like a gram of gold. Um, will be one token. Then and it'll be backed 1-to-1, vaulted, like done correctly. And then you can offer the people that are holding the token to stake it. And if they stake it for some predetermined amount of time, say a year, you can get an in-kind, like we would be offering to create an in-kind yield. So if you start with 100 grams and you stake it, maybe next year you've got 105. I'm just rattling numbers, but that would be the concept. And then if they were large accounts, they could actually do in-kind redemption. They would all be vaulted. And then the obvious next question is, how are you going to create a yield on gold? One way to do that we saw some projects were working on was what you just said, is like sell options, sell derivatives, basically like move the paper around, financialize it. What we were talking to do, and he was like doing a lot of legwork about this, was within this guy lives in Brazil, and he was like making a lot of inroads into the gold mining companies. I ended up partnering with somebody to work on this that is in the gold mining business, who had contacts in like gold, basically transport, and it was going to be an arbitrage between sourcing it in Guyana and Brazil, transporting it with like Brinks secured, like on routes that are already shipping gold across the world, and then selling it in the Dubai and India markets and capturing the yield. And at the end of it, there's the yield that they were and are generating on that. It's like basically a gold arbitrage. Pick it up in Latin America at the source, sell it in the markets across the world. Even after the cost of storing it, the cost of transporting it, insuring it, everything else, there still is like a very juicy yield. And so if you could start to offer people a small part of that yield, it could be very interesting for gold bugs that would, like to get an in-kind yield. I thought it was like it's a pretty compelling like product. A lot of gold bugs are happy to just sit on their gold and have it appreciate. But the idea that your gold can actually turn into more gold, not just the value in dollars, potentially turn more dollars. Hopefully that happens too. But if the price of gold went down, you would end up with more gold, right? It's kind of like strategy shares, except it's not going to fluctuate on like a huge fluctuating MNAV.
Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but I'd rather just buy like a GLD and just sell call options on it.
Yeah, me too, me too, me
It's a
too.
pain in
But
the
if I
ass.
got to work on this and it exploded, and I got to, you get in on the deal, and suddenly, like, if it fucking explodes and there's serious money on it, and we're scraping a part of that yield as our fee, then that's, it's less about, like, I'm with you. I'm a huge options guy. I love yield. I love paper. I like paper Bitcoin. I'm sorry. I like the ETFs. I pay rent with often by just selling options, selling puts, selling calls. Um, I like the hedge, so whatever. But that was the project. It was fun to work on a little bit, and we'll see.
Hey, Chris, I saw your hand up. How's it going, man? You're still on stage? No. Hey, Astrid, I just put in the nest. Apparently, Nunchuck used Coldcard's algorithm, so it's spread.
Oh, what?
Have you ever used Nunchuck for like a wallet for the app? Apparently, they use their algorithm to generate seeds. They use Coldcard's algorithm.
No.
I've heard of people using them. I've never used them myself.
What about what about what about man?
Do we know how much Bitcoin was actually stolen?
Like 1,000
Yeah,
so far.
yeah, it's like 1,000. There's a live counter in the comments that Joe posted. It's 1,082 Bitcoin so far.
Shit. Okay.
And that counter is only for the original wallet that took the first 600. So there may be other hackers now attacking it now
Yeah.
that the exploit has been. So it may be different wallets that are getting hit. So it could be more than that number.
Chris, I see you on stage. I know you had your hand up. What's up, man?
I've been working like crazy all week.
Is
And then
Chris
all of a
up here?
sudden,
Oh, hey,
yeah.
Chris.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
I can't see you though.
Yeah. Twitter sucks.
Oh, I can see you now.
Thanks, Elon. So I'm working my butt off all week, as you know, Astro, getting ready for the summit and Lofty Week. And then people got hacked. Like, what? Like the irony of like self-custody. Amazing.
you. You don't
This
have
is really going
Coldcard,
to
do
be
you,
a
Chris?
shit storm. What?
You don't have Coldcard, do you?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
I
I
got
have a
rid of
cold
my
card.
Trezor anyway. What?
I thought that's what you're about to say. Is like I've been doing Lofty all week, and I got my
Oh no,
fucking
that would
Bitcoin
be
stolen.
right. Yeah, that would be amazing.
I've got a
But no,
I've got a cold card. I rolled the dice 100 times when I set it up. Um, yeah, I don't know. Kind of sucks.
yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of. It's like I feel like every time I'm working the most, all the crazy stuff happens. Sort of like Murphy's Law. I'm not like paying attention to anything, which is kind
Do
of
you have
bizarre.
your
But
shit on a cold card, Chris?
no,
Okay.
we just said no. Um, God, what was I just going to say? Oh, I was going to try to go to that Illinois Bitcoin thing tomorrow, but there's zero chance now. I'm way too busy. But I was curious
Same.
if you
I'm
were
getting ready
going.
for Asteroid Radio Week.
Asteroid Radio Week. Does that coincide with Lofty Week?
It's right before.
Ooh,
Kind of
right before.
Sosnoff's going to be there. The whole gang.
Right before would be Monday, like this
Oh,
Monday.
oh shit. Oh my god. Ooh, god.
Yeah. Okay. That was all I had. I'm gonna drop back.
Are
Look,
you?
Pilot, are you actually going to keep your shit on Coldcard, even though you rolled your own dice?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I set it up, I I remember it was a while ago. I've got the MK4, and I think the exploit is mostly. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up to it like super
Yeah, it's
detailed.
mostly the
But I think it's the
MK3, and if
MK3.
you rolled your own, dice,
And if you
you're
roll,
secured.
yeah, exactly. And when I set it up, I could swear that the instructions themselves warned about, or recommended. I think I'm probably imagining that it was in like big black bold letters, capitalized, to not just use the generator. I think a lot of Bitcoin people, especially that are like on X and thinking about it and talking about it here all the time, are probably more tech savvy than most. But I've been really surprised by some accounts that have popped up and have and like there's some Bitcoin influencers that were putting out posts like, oh my god, I've got a cold card and I just generated it without rolling. It's sad. I don't want to sound like a dick or dismissive. I think that this will be a big learning lesson to a lot of people, and probably in a number of ways. One is like you really like there's no recourse with this stuff. I'm not just going to sit here and say platitudes. We all know that shit, right? But like it is easy to get comfortable, and I bother some of my Bitcoin friends because I joke that I'm a fiat maxi that likes Bitcoin. Like I don't care what, I'm friends with Bitcoiners. I love Bitcoin. I spent so much time studying everything that has to be done in order to secure it, and I keep a stupidly small amount in cold storage, again, because I trust regulated securities and I enjoy options and I pull a yield off of it and I borrow against my Bitcoin. I'm careful with what percentages I will borrow against, but I borrow against it and I use my margin interest rate, which is around 5%. And so all this stuff that they're trying to do and DeFi with Bitcoin, you have to like hand over access with, get a custodian. It's like, I just do that with the ETF. But I totally understand that Bitcoin doesn't exist. Like Bitcoin's not Bitcoin without self-custody. I appreciate that. But I don't know. It's been really like what has hit me of this like the last 30 hours or whatever is just surprise that so many people that are like deep into this Bitcoin thing are impacted. It just seems so obvious to me that you wouldn't use a random number generator that is at the end of the day like lines of code, right? That are gonna, and I don't care that they can grab onto the like when they try to add entropy when you're using a random number generator on a device or a piece of software, there's no difference. There's software on your device. It's just lines of code that are doing something to try and arrive at randomness. And it's just an obvious attack vector. And like that's why like I think if you've got a lot of Bitcoin cold storage, you should probably know this stuff. You should know that like nothing beats just sitting down with a pen and paper and the what is it, the BIP 39 word list or whatever, and writing your own seed, like no device. You can actually do that. And I kind of would have hoped that anybody that is deep into this and has any kind of significant amount of like wealth, like come on, you'd be more careful. Like how can you trust the device? How can you trust the line of code? Bitcoin's math. Like all this cryptography is math. And building your seed is also like a product of math and entropy, and it's kind of like magic. Like you should want to do this by just using the sort of like first principles behind it. So I think it's really, really sad. I feel terrible for some of the accounts that have been popping up and saying that they've lost it. I've been skeptical. Like now you guys said it's up to like 1,000. Yesterday it was like 500 and so there was like 300 million or something when I first saw it. And I saw so many accounts that are like, I lost, 2 million. I lost one. I'm like, really? Like all of you, like that 300 million is like here on my timeline. I doubt it. but there's no question a lot of people have been hurt, and that sucks. And I think that Bitcoin is nature. Nature's violent and relentless and doesn't really give a fuck. And it's going to be a big lesson for a lot of us that are watching, as well as obviously everybody that got hurt. So sorry for ranting there, rambling. Anybody else want to come up?
Log, to be fair, Log, I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of guys say this. Like, I'm surprised. People were trusting the random number generator. To your point, it's just math. And if these devices were working as advertised, the math, the entropy that they should have been able to generate is sufficient for a high entropy seed phrase. So it's like, I don't know. It's not that surprising to me that, a lot of people trusted and maybe didn't go as deep as now obviously need to about the math that these devices were advertised to be able to do.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. At the end of the day, I don't know. Something pushed me to, and by the way, like going through that whole process of learning about it made me so fucking bullish. Like that's how I learned about Bitcoin, was sitting down with like dice, right? That's where I was like, oh, holy shit, this is a paradigm shift, and went and took my net worth, and then like where I thought it was the bottom of the cycle, borrowed money and put it all in. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at. So to do that, I don't care what like that's got good reviews, like some device. Not like I can't go and do that without understanding that the math, the entropy here is realistically unbreakable, and I can't rely on Trezor or Ledger or Coldcard or anybody else to do that for me. And I only have a Coldcard. I think that the other devices, most of them also, like when you're setting them up, they're like, do you want to add entropy? It's like they should take away and make it mandatory now. That probably comes next. But I hear what you're saying, but it's coded. Whatever is generating that entropy is a line of code. And it's just like, dude, we're hitting like compute levels that are exponential. It's obvious you're going to be able to point compute at a lot at lines of code and say, find the exploit. Like there's like compute, you can throw all the compute you want at me sitting, at the dining room table with the shutters down, and a piece of like casino dice or whatever. I actually just use regular dice, but you can be really, really, over the top with this, but really just rolling that out, you get a sequence of 100 ones and zeros in special order. You throw that into the entropy and it's done. Like that's the bottom line. So I totally agree with you that like most people would probably just like trust the experts.
Well, and look, I don't disagree with you either. I think what's disheartening for me looking at this whole thing is like this exploit is not something that even like we didn't need Kimmy to do this. Like this was such a basic flaw of logic that it's stunning to me, frankly, that over the course of the last 4 or 5 years that this code has been out there, like somehow in the flagship device, this has just been there. Like it wouldn't have needed to be an LLM to help assist the break here. So I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around just like it feels like we have just been like playing this complete LARP. Yeah, I saw American Hodl had a post earlier that I feel like was right on the money here, talking about, we're fucking plugging in 9-volt batteries to air gap this shit. And it's like, meanwhile, we have this. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, gross negligence is what I would call it. And people pointing this as a flagship product, and I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous. And the only reason they do that is because it's Bitcoin only. When in reality,
I agree.
all these Bitcoin only
it's Bitcoin only.
companies aren't
Look,
actually that secure.
right now the company's in an indefensible position. I think there's more to what they were doing. Like, there's a reason that I landed on them, and it was like source verifiable. I like that it was at one point like open source. I didn't like the idea of a closed source, but also just they had a lot of extra like security bits. It came in this like special package that had the serial number on it, and it had, I can't remember, it was years ago, but they were doing all this extra stuff. And
Yeah, but that's part of the problem.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
this is
like
always, every time I've ever dealt with something that was like super complicated and all these bells and whistles,
yeah,
it always had bugs. And this is just another case where you
yeah.
try to do too much shit and you get
It,
the most
I can see
dumbest
like
bug that you could ever imagine.
100%. And I don't know who was just speaking and said it. It's like it's not unreasonable for the people to have just expected this device to work and
Well,
not
like you said,
generate.
why wasn't the passphrase in the dice roll just required? You could have
Yeah,
just said you can't
exactly,
do it.
exactly.
You can't do it without it.
And
Makes
like
no sense.
exactly, like reflecting, it's like that would have been such an easy thing to include. Like, if you want to set up and generate a seed phrase, you have to input. You can lie and make them all one, and then it's going to be your fault. But like, we're telling you here, the device is instructing you, go roll the dice, go do this, and enter a random sequence, randomly generated of 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, it absolutely should have been done. People will be
but
asking
at the
them
same time, like
why they didn't do that.
yeah, yes, I hear that. Like, that arguably is the better design choice, but at the same time, like, as we all know, trying to get people to adopt self custody, it's like, guys, like, if we expect quote unquote normies to roll the dice 100 times, like, fat chance, even if we expect normies to get some little calculator looking device that is weird and kind of clunky and like the fact is, like, it would have been easier to just not fuck up the code. The code was right. Like,
I don't know,
they
dude.
should be able to generate 256 bits of entropy. Like, that is possible.
I don't know, man.
Well,
yes,
you needed Apple to create some cold storage devices, or even just use an Apple phone that's like you only use for basically this stuff, and you're probably better off because, yeah, you have more eyes on the actual device. You need these bigger companies. Like, I would trust Blockmore at this point.
What do you mean? We should trust Block more to begin with. That's the fucking problem. Like, nothing against these guys, but there's just like random people with
I think there's only
operations.
5 employees there. There's only like 5
yes,
employees.
at least with Block.
Resources.
At least with Block, there's some really great engineers. They're paid a lot. They have a lot of money to pay out something. They have liability, they have reputation risk.
Probably get your money back.
Dude, if this happened with Block, you definitely are going to get some of your money back because they have the money, and that they would get sued, and you'd be. I'm not saying you know what I mean. At least you maybe get half of it back. That's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, I doubt Coldcard is going to compensate anybody from this.
Well, they don't have any money.
Yeah,
I don't think that it would be wise to trust any random number generator made by anybody at the highest level.
The point is, if you couldn't, then we wouldn't have, like, basically Bitcoin. We've broken because no one really used it. We won't get adoption. We need to have these.
No, I think that it like, you have to, like, Bitcoin's the real world. You can't rely on like lines of code developed by somebody else to like create the
reason
like,
people rely on the
that's
code
what
is
Bitcoin
they can't
is.
rely on themselves. People can't even rely on themselves.
Bitcoin is lines of code.
I know,
Bitcoin is
but
lines of code written by someone else.
Yeah.
Who's this Jammer guy? Why does he sound? Who you sound familiar? What's? I don't remember.
Yeah, Jammer Asteroid. You and I have talked. It's been a minute since I've hopped up on Spaces, but yeah, Bitcoin always pulls.
Look,
me back
I
in
agree
one way or
with
another.
you. I just take the position that I don't know if it's possible, and with like the nature of computing power getting so much better. I mean, we're gonna hit age, like, you're gonna be able to direct just insanity at insanely powerful chips and just force them to work on this infinitely. Like, it's interesting to go and
well, if that's the case, then cryptography is broken.
No, I don't agree. See, that's where I don't agree. Cryptography.
Well, it's only if you roll dice, then you're secure.
A dice shuffle, something like, you can look, some of the best random number generators on that are like software based do things like they read your mouse cursor movements over the prior like 20 seconds and keystrokes and take a coordinate of every position that the mouse was on the screen and then throw it through algorithms that multiply it and send that through a SHA code in order to get, like, they're reaching for randomness because the code itself cannot create true randomness without inputs that are
Yeah,
random from the
but
real
so
world,
there's really
right?
no different. It's like when you abstract it though, you can programmatically generate randomness by looking at vibrations in the CPU's fan. It's really no different
Exactly.
than like you can generate entropy by shaking your hand with a handful of dice and rolling them out. It's like
It
it's
becomes
just
a numbers
entropy.
game, right?
Yeah.
It becomes a numbers game.
So
But
that's where I think pointing to software and being like, well, software can't do this. It's kind of the wrong. I think it's the wrong layer. It's really no different than you shaking your hand and rolling dice. It's just different inputs to get entropy out of the universe.
I
And
hear you. I don't disagree with that. There's something that compelled me to sit down and roll 100 dice and roll the full 100 when the instructions, I think, said like 20 is probably sufficient.
Yeah, but also at the same time, if you didn't use Coldcard, then you wouldn't be affected at all from this.
Maybe, right? Like, I mean, maybe for now that's
well,
true today.
to your point with
I
LLMs,
hope that that's the case, right?
to
I
your
hope
point
that's
with
the case.
LLMs,
I mean,
what
the
this
answer here
is,
is just multi-sig, really.
yeah, as
Yeah.
long as they're you got
More
two,
entropy, more entropy.
yeah, more entropy, and with
Passphrase,
your
multi-sig, but dude, if you
Yeah,
want
those
to
type of solutions. Yeah.
onboard like so-called normies, this is a hurdle, right? I've got like I said, I got a lot of Bitcoin friends. A lot of them get mad at me. I've gotten thrown off these spaces before when I've defended like ETFs. So that's my position is like I don't think Bitcoin is Bitcoin without self custody. I think it's what it is, and at the same time, I think if you want to, like I don't want my parents are in their 70s. I don't want them, like, I want them to own Bitcoin. I don't want them to own self custody Bitcoin.
I mean, this
Fair
may
enough.
not even be the final stage for self-custody Bitcoin. There may be better solutions, and like
Dude,
maybe if we add
definitely.
covenants or things like that, maybe this is like a push. This will be a push to like get better type of upgrades that we could actually have better security, and that it can be easier to adopt, because obviously this is going to be an issue, and maybe there are solutions
100%. 100%.
outside of what we have right now.
Like what are we,
Security doesn't
17
get
years
advanced
into
without events like this happening, right? I
probably.
mean, like
Yeah.
nobody
True.
nobody in crypto wants regulation. Everybody knows it's a honeypot. So the major players are the ones who advance norms, and there's options at the frontier of like security norms, and the most secure options are more expensive to implement, and people don't they don't implement that stuff unless there's events like this.
Well, it
Just
is
playing devil's
shocking
advocate
to
here.
me. It's shocking to me that somebody behind running a company who deploys Bitcoin wallets has not pointed Kimmy K3 at their code base and is not doing it on a daily basis. Like if you're deploying code on the internet right now, and I say this as a business owner who has code, it's like you got to get offensive about your defense and just assume that someone at some point in time is going to point Kimmy at your code, at your system, and Kimmy's going to do what Kimmy can do. And if you're if you're NVK, if you've got hardware and software out there securing Bitcoin.
You muted me. Hey, you got to press the mic button. You got muted. Whoever was talking.
Well, I think you guys maybe called my drift before Asteroid had enough. I find it shocking that Kimmy hadn't already been pointed at this code.
NVK should be responsible for fucking all these Bitcoiners that lost their money. He should literally have to pay them all back.
They're up to like.
He doesn't got the money.
They're up to like $60 million already.
He should have to claim bankruptcy and then go to jail. It's fucking
Is
criminal.
there any potential liability for like negligence here, or no? Has Joe commented on this at all?
It should be fucking
Yeah, he did.
Sue him into the poorhouse.
But there's nothing.
Joe Lawyer said nothing.
What did Joe say? I'm a lawyer. I have no idea.
He said something. He said, "Yeah, you're fucked." Pretty much. I mean,
like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you can go after him. I don't know how it would land. I don't like.
Yeah, I wouldn't just take Joe's word for it. I would fucking get a bigger time lawyer.